Chapter 3292.
Because before the man spoke, Su Lei could already guess what had happened here.
And things were similar to what Su Lei and Night Sorrow had guessed. After Su Lei left the eternal ancient barren world, a demon-like organization appeared here. The people of this organization burned, killed, and looted everywhere, sucking the blood of cultivators to cultivate. They were extremely evil. Moreover, their leader was half a step to the supreme realm. In the eternal ancient barren world, no one could fight against him. Over time, most of the cultivators in the eternal ancient barren world were killed. Originally, they thought that this world would be completely destroyed by that organization. But one day, another group of people appeared. Although they were weaker than the organization, they could barely fight against it. He wasn't being one-sided. Realizing that this group of people was not as evil as the other organization, the remaining cultivators in the eternal ancient barren world began to join them. After the group grew stronger, the two sides gradually reached a stalemate. After attacking the new force for a long time without success, the people of the organization began to attack continuously, destroying large amounts of land in the eternal ancient barren world to vent their anger. This caused great dissatisfaction between the new force and the cultivators of the eternal ancient barren world. But after they attacked, they did not gain any advantage in the confrontation. The losses on both sides were equally heavy. In the end, the male cultivator said, "I was separated from the team in a battle. I happened to come to my hometown and saw everything destroyed. Thinking of my family members who were killed, I was so sad that I went crazy." "What's your name? Follow me from now on."
Su Lei waited for the male cultivator to finish before asking.
"Thank you, Your Majesty. My name is Lu Cheng." As Lu Cheng spoke, he knelt down in front of Su Lei. "Get up. Tell us a little. What are the names of the experts in the two forces?" Su Lei waved his hand and let Lu Cheng get up to continue.
After Lu Cheng got up, he thought for a moment and said, "The leader of the side that helped us is called Longevity Sky Supreme.
But he's not the strongest. The strongest on this side is called Coiling Dragon Spear. He's also called Coiling Dragon Spear. He's half a step to the supreme realm." "Are you sure?" Hearing these two names, Night Sorrow said excitedly.
Without a doubt, if what this man said was true.
Then he had found his family. After all, Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun had left the eternal sovereign world with the supreme longevity. After Night Sorrow asked, Lu Cheng said confidently, "They are the benefactors of the eternal ancient barren world. How could I remember their names wrongly?" "Good. This is great. That's great." Hearing Lu Cheng's words, Night Sorrow said, "Good," 3 times in a row. He was simply too happy. "Are these two the people you're looking for?" Seeing Night Sorrow so excited, Su Lei immediately asked. "Yes, it was them. I didn't expect to find it so coincidentally." A smile appeared on Night Sorrow's face. In fact, he was trying his luck by coming to the eternal ancient desolate world to find his family. Who would have thought that they would find their whereabouts so easily? "That's great. Lu Cheng, take us to Longevity Heaven Supreme and the others."
When Su Lei saw that Night Sorrow was so happy, the gloominess in his heart was somewhat soothed.
"Yes, Your Majesty the Empress. This lord. Please come with me." Lu Cheng responded and prepared to fly into the void. However, he was still very weak at the moment. After flying for about 10 feet in the air, he fell back down. "Lu Cheng, are you all right?" Su Lei hurriedly sent out a stream of divine origin energy to catch Lu Cheng. "Your Majesty the Empress. Although I'm weak, it's not to the extent that I can't fly. There seems to be a defensive array in the sky." Lu Cheng, who had spat out a mouthful of blood, replied. At the same time, terrifying bloody marks appeared on his body. The bloody marks quickly crawled all over Lu Cheng's body. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded in the void. "I didn't expect that leaving a lunatic as bait would yield results. Night Sorrow, help me save him." At this moment, Su Lei ignored the cold voice in the void. Instead, he looked at Night Sorrow and said, "I'll try." As Night Sorrow responded, he sent out the Dragon of Merit and let it wrap around Lu Cheng's body. After being wrapped by the Dragon of Merit, the bloody marks immediately disappeared. In a few breaths of time, they completely disappeared from Lu Cheng's body. At this moment, Lu Cheng transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. "Benefactor.
In order to avoid being killed after the battle, I'll tell you the location of the Longevity Sky Supreme.
Thank you. But you won't die. Enter my space grotto heaven.
Night Sorrow said and sent Lu Cheng into the space grotto heaven. To him, Lu Cheng was like a benefactor. He could not be killed so easily. After sending Lu Cheng into the space, Night Sorrow looked at Su Lei and said, Lu Cheng is safe now. But it seems that we'll have to go through a bloody battle. They've been prepared for this.
No worries.
I'm also thinking of killing some people from the organization to vent my anger. Su Lei stood on the familiar ground. The domineering aura on his body was once again displayed. With a roar, he transformed into Wuxia and spat out a mouthful of flames at one of the cultivators. However, the flames were quickly blocked by the array in the void.
Don't be in a hurry to attack.
The array in front of us seems to be set up by a half-step to the Supreme Realm Expert.
It's not easy to deal with.
Night Sorrow, who had activated the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe, discovered that the array in front of them was extraordinary. It was something that ordinary heavenly sovereigns could not set up. Hence, he summoned the formation-breaking hammers and said, We've encountered some trouble.
Let's think of a way to break the array.
This array was indeed set up by a half-step to the Supreme Realm Expert. However, his attainments in movement techniques are limited.
We should be able to break it.
The male hammer in the formation-breaking hammers observed for a while and said with certainty,
All right. Then I'll have to trouble you.
As Night Sorrow replied, he reminded Su Lei, they didn't attack immediately. They're summoning nearby experts. There are more and more cultivators coming this way. There are about 30 to 40 of them.
It should be a tough battle for us.
The more the better. At this moment, Su Lei's face was cold and arrogant. Today she was prepared to kill.
All right.
Then prepare for battle. Night Sorrow replied and continued to use the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe the enemies around him. All of a sudden, he saw a familiar person. This person was actually Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath, who had chased after him non-stop. Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath, so you're from this evil organization. Seeing Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath's figure, Night Sorrow's eyes narrowed. At this moment, Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath also noticed Night Sorrow. When he realized that the one trapped was Night Sorrow, he sneered. Kid, I thought I would never see you again. I didn't expect you to walk right into my trap today.
Chapter 3293.
You have no right to say that I'm walking into a trap. After observing with the eye of the Sea Serpent, Night Sorrow realized that Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath was an upper Heavenly Sovereign. Such a cultivation was naturally superior to him, but his aura didn't seem like much. He must have used some kind of secret technique to quickly raise his cultivation level. His foundation wasn't solid at all. In battle, he wasn't much stronger than a middle Heavenly Sovereign.
Ha ha ha.
Kid, you don't have to be stubborn. You'll understand in a while what it means to be unable to escape. Let's see how you're going to escape this time. Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath laughed. In his opinion, he would be able to gather more than 40 Heavenly Sovereigns soon. Such a force. It wasn't something that Night Sorrow and Su Lei could fight against. After all, one of them was a lower Heavenly Sovereign, while the other was an upper Heavenly Sovereign. Against trash like you, I don't need to escape. Night Sorrow looked at Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath and said. He paused for a moment and continued, By the way, your Blackthorn Crystal Vein isn't bad to use.
Bastard.
Hearing Night Sorrow mention the Blackthorn Crystal Vein, Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath's expression became extremely gloomy. If he had obtained the Blackthorn Crystal Vein, his strength would have increased greatly.
Night Sorrow.
The formation in front of us looks powerful, but it's actually weak. In less than 10 breaths, we'll be able to break it open. Get ready for battle. At this moment, the male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer suddenly transmitted his voice.
You can break it open so quickly.
Very good. Night Sorrow praised and transmitted his voice to Su Lei. Get ready for battle. The formation is about to be broken.
I'm already prepared.
Su Lei replied in a cold tone. She looked at the many cultivators in front of her with a murderous look in her eyes. She obviously hated these people who had destroyed her home. 3, 2, 1. Kill. Night Sorrow could feel the hatred from Su Lei.
He transmitted his voice and activated the Treya Battle Mystic technique and the Destruction Mystic ability. When he raised his status, he immediately summoned the half-step Supreme Divine Artifact, the Golden Heavenly Halberd. Suddenly, he unleashed his Divine Spear at Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath. To him, there was no need to use Extreme Flame Phantasm directly. "Brat, it's been a while since we last met. Seems like your strength has improved. However, I'm not the only one who wants to kill you today." When Heavenly Sovereign Cloudy Breath saw how powerful Night Sorrow's attack was, he immediately took out a secret treasure to defend against it. Night Sorrow's spear struck the artifact and directly shattered it. Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath took the opportunity to dodge. At this moment, the other cultivators beside Heavenly Supremacy Cloudy Breath reacted as well. Almost at the same time, they attacked Night Sorrow and Su Lei. "Kill!" Su Lei, who had been silent for a long time, also roared at this moment. Then he transformed into Wuxia. Fight with the cultivators in front of him. She unleashed her strongest attack right from the start. That was a stance of going all out without holding back at all. In just a few rounds, he had already killed 4 or 5 Heavenly Sovereigns. These Heavenly Sovereigns were the same as Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath. They were not stable at all. They who had used evil techniques to advance could not be compared to Su Lei, who had used the Supreme Heavenly Origin Pill to advance. Good job killing them. However, you must protect yourselves. Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle, reminded loudly. He had already used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavens when he was surrounded. He shuttled through the crowd and killed his opponents consecutively. The dozens of people in front of him looked aggressive, but their true strength was obviously far from his. Night Sorrow did not even use the Eternal Divine Tower or Extreme Flame Phantasm. As the battle progressed, Heavenly Sovereign Cloud Breath's expression changed completely as he saw the cultivators in his organization being killed one after another. He began to use a secret technique to send voice transmissions to summon even more powerful experts. He could already see that although he had the advantage in numbers, it was like a tiger surrounded by sheep. He could not see any chance of winning. As for the other cultivators present, they began to use their secret techniques. One by one, they were bleeding from all 7 orifices. They looked neither human nor ghost and were extremely ferocious. "Today, I will pay for all the sins you have committed in the past." Seeing so many cultivators become like this, Su Lei let out a roar and unleashed the Nirvana Heart Flame. The move she used was obviously purer and more powerful than Night Sorrow's. In an instant, she killed a few of those who were unstable. However, at this point in the battle, Su Lei, who had continuously used her ultimate skills, was obviously unstable. Seeing her like this, Night Sorrow reminded her, "Pay attention to your recovery. Leave the rest to me." "Thank you. However, today, I will kill until I am exhausted." Su Lei replied and started to fight with the cultivators of the organization again. "All right." Night Sorrow replied and also started to fight with the enemies in front of him. After these people's bodies changed, their strength increased by a lot. However, they were still a far cry from him, who could barely compete with someone who was half a step to the Supreme Realm. Not long after, he and Su Lei killed another dozen of them. Seeing that there were only a dozen of them left, Cloud Breath Heavenly Supreme, who had been hiding at the back and did not dare to fight Night Sorrow directly, started to panic. After thinking for a while, he sent a message to the remaining cultivators and said, "Everyone, don't fight anymore. Let's escape together." "Escape together? Who gave you this order?" At this moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the void. An upper Heavenly Supreme in black armor appeared in the void, riding on a colorful tiger. "Third leader! Third leader! Third leader!" Seeing the appearance of this upper Heavenly Supreme in black armor, everyone started to shout, "Fan Li! It's you!" Seeing this person, Su Lei's murderous aura increased several times. This was because this person in front of her was the one who had saved her and brought her into the fog. It seemed like the organization that had destroyed her divine kingdom and killed her family and friends back then was the organization that she had worked for. Su Lei, if you continue to be a fool and work for the organization, you can keep your life. However, you have found out that what happened back then was done by us. Then, you won't have the chance to continue living. Die. Fan Li knew that Su Lei had found out everything by now and could no longer control himself. He was ready to kill him. How arrogant. You think you are qualified to give orders? Knight Sorrow looked at Fan Li and saw that his strength was obviously stronger than an ordinary upper heavenly supreme. He was only a step away from being half a step to the supreme realm, and he had a half a step to the supreme realm divine artifact. However, he was confident that he could kill him instantly. Knight Sorrow. Leave this person to me. I want to kill him with my own hands. Help me get rid of the others. At this moment, Su Lei stopped Knight Sorrow, who was about to attack, and said word by word. Chapter 3294. The killing intent in Su Lei's heart could not be suppressed at all. She wanted to kill Fan Li with her own hands to avenge her country. Knight Sorrow looked at Su Lei and said after a moment of silence, "Do it. I'll get rid of the other obstacles for you." "Thank you." Su Lei expressed his gratitude and transformed into Wuxia's appearance once again to battle with Fan Li. After observing for a moment and seeing that Su Lei was not at a disadvantage, Knight Sorrow started to kill the other cultivators present. He killed everyone, including Heavenly Sovereign Yun Shi. Then, he floated in the air and continued to watch the battle between Su Lei and Fan Li. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had dealt with all the troubles, Su Lei, who was no longer worried about sneak attacks, felt that the battle had become much easier. "I didn't expect your strength to increase so much in these years. However, in front of a half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact, your strength is still not enough." After fighting for a while, Fan Li suddenly realized that he could no longer suppress Su Lei. He said coldly. He had already taken out the half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact, Kuan Sky Urn, and smashed it towards Su Lei. "Don't think that you're the only one with a half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact." At this moment, Su Lei suddenly took out an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold sword. This sword was made by her using the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold. It was a true half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact, but it had not been named yet. After taking out the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold sword, Su Lei transformed into a human again and stabbed toward Fan Li's Kuan Sky Urn. This sword contained extremely scorching flames. It hit the Kuan Sky Urn and caused a crack to appear on it. The flames followed these cracks and quickly climbed up the Kuan Sky Urn, burning it completely. What? Even a half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifact can be destroyed? Seeing the situation in front of him, Fan Li roared in disbelief. Knowing that it was useless to take back the Kuan Sky Urn, he immediately roared, "Blood Fiend True Body!" In an instant he, who looked like a normal cultivator, turned into a terrifying figure covered in blood fiends. "Fan Li, I thought of you as my benefactor. Now, it seems that you're the most despicable existence in the world. There's no need for you to live. I'll let you have a taste of my strongest technique." Sword and feather become one. Su Lei roared angrily and soared into the air once again. He merged Wuxia's body with the Extreme Flame Golden Phoenix Sword. He turned into a stream of light and shot toward Fan Li. Sword and feather as one? In my opinion, this is all there is to it. Go to hell. The current Fan Li had just transformed into the Blood Fiend True Body. It was precisely when he was confident. His choice was to confront Su Lei head-on. Boom. After the two of them collided, a huge hole was blasted in the void. Other than Knight Sorrow, everything within 100,000 miles was reduced to nothingness. As for Su Lei and Fan Li, after this attack, they were both severely injured. However, Fan Li was floating in the air and had already lost consciousness. Su Lei woke up not long after. After getting up, she found the slightly damaged Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold Sword. He was prepared to kill Fan Li. At this moment, Knight Sorrow flew over and said, "You can keep this person. After all, he was an important figure in the organization. He should have a very good understanding of the people in the organization and many other things. If we interrogate him properly in the future, it should be beneficial to the overall situation." All right. In order to completely destroy this demonic organization, I will spare his life. After Su Lei finished speaking, she kept Fan Li into the space grotto heaven. Then she faced a direction and knelt down, saying silently, "My family, my citizens, I, Su Lei, will definitely avenge you. Rest in peace. Your injuries are not good. It's better for you to recover in my space grotto heaven." At this moment, Knight Sorrow, who had used the sea serpent's eye to observe Su Lei, advised. At this moment, although Su Lei had the upper hand after clashing head-on with Fan Li, Her injuries were obviously not light. However, when she heard this, Su Lei rejected, "No need. My family and citizens are all watching me. I will not compromise with this organization." "Alright. I respect your choice," Knight Sorrow said. Then, under Lu Cheng's command, he brought Su Lei to find the place where Supreme Longevity and the others were staying. After flying for 5 days and 5 nights in the ruins of the eternal ancient barren world, they arrived in front of an ocean. At this moment, Lu Cheng pointed into the distance and said, "There is a very large island in front of us. It is also the only place in the eternal ancient barren world that has escaped disaster other than the organization's headquarters. Supreme Longevity and the others are currently on the island." "Thank you. When we reach the island, I will give you a lot of resources to repair your body and let you walk the path of cultivation again. This time, you can be considered to have been washed clean and have been reborn. Cherish it well." After saying this, Su Lei looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "Let's go." "Actually, I'm a little nervous now. I'm afraid that my family and friends are not here, or that they are not all here." Knight Sorrow replied Su Lei and flew side by side with her on the blue sea. After flying for more than 2 days, they finally saw the huge island in front of them. This island was very large, almost equivalent to 30 territories in the eternal supreme world. From afar, Knight Sorrow could see that there was a huge protective layer above the island. When they got closer, he calmed down and looked at the island. Knight Sorrow requests to see Senior Longevity. This voice was not only loud and clear, but it also circled above the island. Soon, everyone on the island heard it. Not long after, Supreme Longevity appeared above the void with a few people. Seeing Knight Sorrow, Supreme Longevity immediately said excitedly, "Knight Sorrow, it's really you. That's great, your family and friends are all on the island." "Senior Longevity, you have worked hard." Knight Sorrow anxiously scanned with his soul energy and found that although Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun did not come with Supreme Longevity, they had already rushed over from the island. Xiao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, Jin Xian and the others were the same. After confirming that they were all fine, he immediately relaxed and greeted Supreme Longevity. Sigh. At this time, Supreme Longevity sighed and said, "If I had my previous body, I might not have been lost in the eternal supreme world this time. What a pity." "Senior Longevity, don't sigh. I will think of a way to help you. Currently, I have already snuck into the middle of Lu Tian Academy. I might find a suitable body for you there." Knight Sorrow comforted him and continued, "The heaven-deceiving tribe is not a threat at all. Our biggest enemy is still the 3 Supremes in the fog. Currently, the most important thing is not to take back the eternal supreme world, but to cultivate a few top fighters." Chapter 3295. That's right. Without Ji Zun, even if we can take back the eternal supreme world, we won't be able to defend it. The humiliating history of the past will repeat itself. Supreme Longevity frowned sternly. Compared to others, what he lacked was not intelligence, but a body that could withstand his talent. "Senior Longevity, have you seen Senior Heaven Defying? Did you see Yan Jizuan?" Meanwhile, Yi Shuang asked. The Heaven-Defying Sword was to help Supreme Longevity and find Yan Jizuan according to his instructions. He did not see him, so he asked, "Is the Heaven-Defying Sword you're talking about half a step to the Supreme Realm?" Supreme Longevity looked at Knight Sorrow. "Yes, that's him." Knight Sorrow nodded. "Yes, and he helped us a lot. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to escape." Supreme Longevity continued, "But he stayed in the eternal supreme world, saying that he was looking for Yan Jizuan. We haven't seen him since we arrived here. Also, we haven't seen Yan Jizuan." "Okay, got it." Knight Sorrow nodded, then asked, "By the way, Senior Longevity, before I came, did you guys have a plan for what to do next?" "Our plan is to find a chance to destroy the Blood Evil organization and completely occupy the eternal ancient barren world, so that everyone can rest and recuperate. I'll bring some people to the foggy area to look for opportunities." Supreme Longevity looked into the distance and said. He was looking at the Blood Evil organization's base. That was Su Lei's palace. Relatively speaking, it's much faster to raise one's strength in the foggy area. I'll try my best to occupy a place there and provide a place for everyone to cultivate. I've already joined the middle court of the Lu Tian Academy, and my position is not bad. I should have a chance to occupy a bigger territory, and then I can bring many people over. Knight Sorrow slowly explained the situation in the foggy area. When he heard this, Supreme Exalt Chong Shang patted Yi Shang on the shoulder and said, "Very good. We'll do as you say. With you and the power of virtue, the people we send over won't have to worry about losing their minds." "All right, then it's decided. Besides, I have already advanced to the Heavenly Sovereign level, so I should be able to help in the battle with the Blood Evil organization. Why don't we plan to attack them in the next few days? Try to eliminate them as soon as possible." Knight Sorrow said coldly. He then continued, "So that they won't reveal everyone's situation and attract people from the foggy area. In the battle just now, I've already discovered a Heavenly Sovereign from the foggy area." "Yes. Before you came, we already had the intention of having a decisive battle with them. Although the cultivators on our side are weaker than them in terms of overall cultivation, the difference between the two sides isn't that great. The key to the battle is still to submit to the strongest few forces." Supreme Longevity looked into the distance. "With your participation, our chances of winning will increase by 30 to 40%. I hope so. There should be quite a number of Heavenly Sovereigns on their side. There shouldn't be many on our side, right?" Knight Sorrow continued to ask. He thought about how he and Su Lei had encountered dozens of Heavenly Sovereigns the moment they came to the eternal ancient desolate world. He could tell that the Blood Evil organization definitely had quite a number of Heavenly Sovereigns. Indeed, we don't have many Heavenly Sovereigns on our side. However, many Earth Sovereigns have the ability to contend with the Heavenly Sovereigns of the Blood Evil organization. Hence, the difference in strength between the two sides isn't that great," Supreme Longevity added. Then, he saw Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun rushing over. He immediately smiled at Knight Sorrow and said, "Let's put aside the matter of attacking the Blood Evil organization for now. Go and reunite with your family first. In the distance, your friends are already on their way." "All right," Knight Sorrow responded. He then looked at Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun. "It's all my fault. I've caused you to suffer." At this moment, Wu Lingfei looked at Knight Sorrow and asked, "What's your cultivation now?" "I'm currently a lower Heavenly Sovereign," Knight Sorrow said, a little confused. He didn't expect Wu Lingfei's first question to be about his cultivation. Lower Heavenly Sovereign. Not bad. Our years of waiting and sacrifice have been worth it. Wu Lingfei nodded. In these years, she and Jing Yun had encountered many dangers. Once, Jing Yun was almost killed by the Heavenly Deceiver tribe. Fortunately, the coiling dragon spear arrived at the critical moment and killed the Heavenly Sovereign of the Heavenly Deceiver tribe. All these years. At this moment, Knight Sorrow wanted to say something, but he didn't say it out loud. He regretted not bringing Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun along at that time. "Let's go back and talk about our family matters." Jing Yun looked at Yi Shan, then looked at the surrounding crowd and said, "Don't worry." She felt a little uncomfortable with so many people watching them reminisce about the past. "All right." Knight Sorrow responded and introduced Su Lei to Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun. Then, he brought him to the Supreme Longevity and asked them to help him settle down. He, Wu Lingfei, and Jing Yun flew towards the two women's residence. On the way, they naturally met Xiao Tianxian, Wan Jianzong, and the others. The three of them, who were about to talk about their daily lives, immediately started drinking with them. As they drank, Knight Sorrow told everyone about the foggy area. "This time, after we kill the Blood Fiend organization, you have to bring everyone to the foggy area. Look, we were all Earthly Sovereigns. Now we have to put in a lot of effort to advance to Earthly Sovereign. But you are already a Heavenly Sovereign. Plus you have the ability to fight across realms. The difference between us is like heaven and earth." After Knight Sorrow finished, Wan Jianzong pretended to be bitter. "That's right, the difference between us is really too big," Jin Xian also said. At this moment, he was also an Earthly Sovereign. "Ha! Good. This time, I will not leave a single one behind and bring all of you there. Let's break through to a higher realm together," Knight Sorrow solemnly promised after drinking a bowl of wine. All these years, he had been in the foggy area and lacked the company of friends. It was indeed lonely. After all, Su Lei, Dancing Woman,
and the others were not like friends. We want to go too. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jing Yun looked at him and said. She did not want to go through years of separation again. Good. Let's all go. Everyone present, let's go together. It just so happens that we have a tough battle over there. I am prepared to destroy a family with a strong foundation over there. I will take their territory for myself, so that everyone can cultivate in peace there. Yi Shang recounted his plan to exterminate the Lin clan once more. Then, he asked everyone what they had experienced over the years. The more they asked, the more shocked they were. Back then, if they had not coincidentally found the entrance to the eternal ancient desolate world, they would have probably died in the eternal supreme world. Chapter 3296. In the future, I, Night Sorrow, will never let anyone experience such danger again. After hearing everyone speak, Yi Shang took a big gulp of wine and promised. If they hadn't discovered the entrance to the eternal ancient desolate world, they would have been killed by the heaven-deceiving alien tribe and the traitors of the eternal supreme world. After all, he wasn't there at the crucial moment. We believe in you. After Yi Shang finished speaking, Jing Yun added another sentence. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow thoughtfully. Night Sorrow took out some extreme flame phoenix gold and distributed it to everyone. Basically, it was enough for everyone to make a half-step supreme divine artifact. As for the rest, if he reached a certain level, he could still make a supreme divine artifact after refining it. After receiving the extreme flame phoenix gold, Shao Tianxian, the myriad sword sect, and the others were excited. After all, the final battle with the Blood Evil organization was about to begin. If everyone could make a half-step supreme divine artifact, the battle would be much more comfortable. After the banquet, they left and returned to their own residences to make half-step supreme divine artifacts. When only Night Sorrow, Jing Yun, and Wu Lingfei were left, Night Sorrow looked at them and said, "What divine artifacts do you two want? I'll make them for you personally. I'll make an umbrella for Jing Yun. I don't want to participate in battles for a while." Wu Lingfei said after Night Sorrow finished speaking. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Night Sorrow looked at Wu Lingfei and asked with concern. Sister, I'm pregnant, so I can't fight anymore. Jing Yun looked at Night Sorrow and said. Pregnant? Really? Hearing this, Night Sorrow's expression became very interesting. He didn't expect Wu Lingfei to be able to have a child as an Earth Supreme. After being stunned for a moment, he laughed out loud. Seeing Night Sorrow like this, Wu Lingfei said seriously, Night Sorrow, now that I'm pregnant, I have a lot of thoughts that are different from before. I want to tell you something, but I don't know if you'll listen. Go ahead. Night Sorrow knew that Wu Lingfei had something to say, so he immediately responded. In the past, I always thought that you were a hero, guarding the 4 directions. But now that I'm pregnant, I can't help but feel a little worried. I'm afraid that something will happen to you. I'm afraid that after the child is born, he won't be able to see his father. Wu Lingfei sighed. The eternal Paragon world is on the verge of being destroyed, and even the God world is in danger. This is something we absolutely cannot accept. I support you. Quickly increase your strength and destroy the heaven-deceiving race. Remove the threat of the fog. But you must pay attention to your own safety. No matter what, you must preserve your life. Can you promise me that? Actually, she wasn't being pretentious. After a woman had a child, her mentality would change. Everyone would think about a lot of things for no reason, not to mention that Night Sorrow was facing such a difficult situation. I promise you, in the future, no matter how intense the battle is, I will successfully exterminate the heaven-deceiving alien race and eliminate the threat of the fog, so that everyone could live a comfortable life. I will see my family and friends in the God world. And no matter how difficult it is, I will return. Night Sorrow swore a blood oath seriously, then looked at Wu Lingfei. Ordinary people will give birth after 10 months of pregnancy. I'm afraid our child won't be born so easily. How is the little guy now? I've been pregnant for 300 years, but the little guy hasn't grown up yet. You can listen for yourself. Hearing Night Sorrow's question, Yi Jingyun smiled and pressed his head against Wu Lingfei's belly. Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't open the sea serpent's eye to look at his child.
He gently pressed his head against Wu Lingfei's belly and listened carefully. However, the little guy hadn't moved yet. After listening for a while, he still didn't hear anything. At this time, Wu Lingfei said softly, "If there's no obvious movement after 300 years of pregnancy, I think this little guy will need 10 million years to successfully come. I only hope that by then, the threat of the fog will have been eliminated. The world will be at peace." After gaining the charm, whether it was the tone of her speech or the tone of her voice, it had become much gentler. There was more and more motherly charm in her voice. I will do my best to eliminate all threats." Night Sorrow gently stroked Wu Lingfei's belly with his fingertips and promised. He wasn't 100% confident in this matter, but he was 100% determined. "I believe in you," Wu Lingfei said softly, then continued, "After being pregnant, I always feel tired. I'm going to rest for a while. You can go and forge a divine artifact for Jing Yun. Jing Yun's strength will increase, and she will be able to protect you and the child better." Night Sorrow nodded and looked at Jing Yun. "Let's go out. I will protect you well, sister," Jing Yun promised. Her real age was much older than Wu Lingfei, but from the time they spent together, she could clearly feel Wu Lingfei's steadiness and magnanimity. In the end, she called her sister. "Are you sure you want an umbrella?" After leaving Wu Lingfei's residence, Night Sorrow looked at Jing Yun and asked. "Yes. After you left, I happened to get an umbrella-shaped earthly sovereign divine artifact. I used it to fight all the time. However, it was destroyed in the hands of the heaven-deceiving tribe," Jing Yun said, then continued. "Also, sister and I feel that an umbrella can give people a sense of security. Then we will forge a new umbrella-shaped divine artifact." Jing Yun's words made Night Sorrow's heart ache. He had a lot of responsibilities to shoulder. He had the sentiments of a country. This also caused him to have very little time to accompany and protect the two women. He felt even more guilty towards his family in the realm of the gods. Night Sorrow then took out a portion of the extreme flame phoenix gold and forged a flaming umbrella-shaped divine artifact for Jing Yun. As Jing Yun had the phoenix bloodline, it was very suitable for her to use. However, she was only a lower earthly sovereign and couldn't activate the strongest power of the extreme flame phoenix gold umbrella. Even so, Jing Yun was very happy. She caressed the divine artifact and couldn't bear to part with it. In the next half a month, Night Sorrow stayed by Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei's side and lived a simple life with them. Until one day, Supreme Longevity suddenly sent a voice transmission. "Night Sorrow, come quickly for a meeting. The Blood Evil organization seems to be up to something. Are we going to strike first to gain the upper hand? I will rush over immediately," Night Sorrow replied, then looked at Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei apologetically. Before he could say anything, Wu Lingfei looked at him and said firmly, "Go. Remember what I said. Take care." Night Sorrow took a good look at the two women, then turned and flew towards the meeting hall. He knew that Supreme Longevity's voice transmission was so urgent, it must mean that a war was about to break out. Chapter 3297. Senior Longevity, What's Going On? When Night Sorrow arrived at the meeting hall, there were already many people gathered there. About 70% of them were from the Eternal Supreme World, and about 30% were from the Eternal Ancient Barren World like Su Lei. Among them, there were only about 10 Sky Supremes, and the rest were Earth Supremes. Coiling Dragon Spear and Supreme Longevity sat in the main seats. Yi Shang asked as he walked into the meeting hall and sat down in an empty seat below them. "It's like this. Everyone, please look at the map." After Night Sorrow sat down, Supreme Longevity immediately took out a map of the Eternal Ancient Barren World and opened it. Then he pointed to 3 marked points on the map and said, "These 3 marked points are our sentry posts on the land. Today we lost contact with them at the same time. I suspect that the Blood Evil organization wiped out these 3 sentry posts. They should be preparing to attack our base." 3 sentry posts. No news at all? After Supreme Longevity finished speaking, the second Deputy City Lord of the Heavenly Realm City asked. "Yes. They didn't send back any news. They should have been killed by a powerful cultivator." Supreme Longevity nodded and said, "Our original plan was to prepare for half a month of battle resources, and then launch an all-out attack on the Blood Evil organization. I didn't expect them to make the first move." There are many women and children on the island, as well as people with low cultivation. If a battle breaks out, we'll be fine, but they'll definitely be affected. The casualties will be heavy. We can't let the Blood Evil organization lead the battle to the island. After Supreme Longevity finished speaking, Night Sorrow said coldly, "Currently, the people on the island were all the people of the Eternal Supreme World in the future. If the Blood Evil organization attacked, the consequences would be unimaginable." Night Sorrow is right. We have to stop the enemy from entering the island. Now, whether it's the Eternal Supreme World or the Eternal Ancient Barren World, most of the remaining people are here. We can't afford to lose them. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Su Lei immediately stood up and said, currently, she had gained the recognition of the remaining people of the Eternal Ancient Barren World and became their new Empress. The Empress is right. We can't afford such a loss. We have to attack. A male cultivator from the Eternal Ancient Barren World shouted after Su Lei had finished speaking. You're right. Now, it was very likely that the people from the Blood Evil organization would arrive soon. For the sake of everyone in the two realms, we must do our best to keep all the enemies outside the formation. Therefore, except for those with special circumstances, all the earthly sovereigns and heavenly sovereigns on the island need to go out and fight. After Supreme Longevity finished his impassioned speech, he continued, "The battle may come at any time, so I won't say much about it. Everyone, go back and gather all your strength. Prepare to fight with me." Good. Let's go back and gather our men. After Su Lei and the others responded, they each went back to organize their own people. After everyone had left, Supreme Longevity turned to Night Sorrow and said, "I'm aware of the situation of your two wives. If a battle breaks out in the near future, don't summon them." "Thank you, Senior. I will bring out their fighting strength." Yi Shang brought his fists together and did not decline the request. "I know. You alone are equivalent to thousands of soldiers and horses." Supreme Longevity smiled and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Then he frowned and said, "Therefore, there's a very dangerous task that I need you to do." "What is it?" Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. "In the base of the Blood Evil organization, there's a blood altar. This altar was built with the blood of countless living beings. It's the source of power for the members of the Blood Evil organization. If you can destroy this altar when the battle starts, our chances of winning will increase from 40% to 70%. Supreme Longevity explained, "I need to restrain the leader of the Blood Evil organization together with the coiling dragon spear. Otherwise, I'll go myself. If I destroy this altar, how much will the fighting strength of the members of the Blood Evil organization decrease?" Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. He felt that if he fought head-on, he could at least kill dozens of heavenly sovereigns. If he were to destroy the altar, it would be a waste of his talents. Supreme Longevity thought for a while and said, "According to the information we received, once the altar is destroyed, the fighting strength of all the members of the Blood Evil organization will decrease by 50% and they will become very weak. In that case, they won't be a threat to us. So it can achieve such an effect. In that case, it's worth it to lose one of our fighting strength. Shall I set off immediately?" Night Sorrow heard Supreme Longevity's explanation and felt that he had to do it. "It's best if you set off immediately. But now that we have lost our sentry, we can't be sure where the members of the Blood Evil organization are. If you go out now, it might be very dangerous." Supreme Longevity thought for a while and said, "It's okay. I have the eye of the sea serpent and can detect the enemy's position in advance. Besides, my speed is very fast. Other than those who are half a step to the Supreme Realm, no one should be able to catch up with me." Yi Shang said before continuing, "Senior Chongqing, I'm not sure if you'll be able to survive. I'll set off now. If the island is dangerous, please take care of my wife." What he needed to do now was very dangerous. Bringing Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun with him might not be as safe as leaving them on the island, so he didn't plan to bring them along. Supreme Longevity nodded and promised, "Don't worry. As long as I'm alive, they won't be harmed at all. Even if I die, I'll think of a way to send them away." "Thank you, Senior Chongqing. I'll set off now. Su Lei is quite strong and trustworthy. You can rest assured with her." Night Sorrow flew out of the meeting hall and returned to Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun's residence. He told them what he was going to do. After Night Sorrow finished, Wu Lingfei said with a serious expression, This is a moment of life and death for the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World. You have a heavy responsibility on your shoulders. We'll protect ourselves. Don't worry and go. Jing Yun also understood the importance of this matter. She hugged Night Sorrow and said, "Husband, take care. This battle is very important to the two worlds. But to us, the most important thing is still you. Don't worry, I'll complete the mission successfully and return safely. The Blood Evil organization will most likely send out all their forces to attack us. The rear will be very empty. This mission seems dangerous, but it's actually not too difficult." Night Sorrow comforted the two women. In fact, he knew very well that the Blood Evil altar was so important to the Blood Evil organization. They would definitely guard it heavily. After speaking, Night Sorrow set up the 5-bull formation near Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun, as well as the formation he learned from Dancing Lady. Chapter 3298. After setting up the formation, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and took out the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold. With the help of the seal-breaking hammer, he created an Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle that could break seals. He handed it to Wu Lingfei and said, "Lingfei, your body is not well and not suitable for battle. This Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle is a half-step Supreme Divine artifact. If the island falls into enemy hands and you are discovered, control it and escape. I'll take this Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle. Don't worry and go complete the mission. Don't worry about us." Wu Lingfei said softly after accepting the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold shuttle. She could feel that Night Sorrow was reluctant to part with them, and she was very touched. "I'm going." Night Sorrow looked at the two women affectionately again, then waved his sleeves and flew into the sky. After Night Sorrow's figure disappeared into the horizon, Jing Yun comforted Wu Lingfei. "Sister, don't worry. He will come back." Sigh. Although every time, he would return successfully. She couldn't help but worry. At the same time, she felt sorry for him. After so many years, he hasn't had a good rest. He always carries the heaviest burden on his shoulders. Wu Lingfei sighed and said. At this moment, she was pregnant, and there was a hint of laziness in her movements. Hearing this, Jing Yun also sighed and said, "Yes. It hasn't been easy for husband all this time. I really hope that one day in the future, we can be reunited as a family and live a carefree life without caring about worldly affairs." "That's right." Wu Lingfei nodded and said. Then, they chatted for a long time until Myriad Sword Sect came to see them. They ordered someone to bring Myriad Sword Sect into the courtyard. Myriad Sword Sect greets sisters-in-law. Seeing that the battle is about to start, "Where is Brother Yi? We are ready to fight side by side with him." Myriad Sword Sect immediately asked when he saw Wu Lingfei and Jing Yun walk out of the room. "He left to carry out a very difficult mission." Hearing Myriad Sword Sect's question, Jing Yun directly answered. She knew that Myriad Sword Sect and Night Sorrow had a good relationship, so there was no need to hide this matter. Carrying out a mission? He couldn't have gone to the Blood Fiend's base alone to destroy the Blood Fiend altar, right? Upon hearing Jing Yun's words, Master Wan Jian asked with his eyes wide open. "Lower your voice. This mission was classified. Don't spread it around." Master Wan Jian's voice was a bit loud, so Wu Lingfei immediately reminded him. "But the Blood Fiend altar is the most important thing to the Blood Fiend organization. They will definitely send many experts to guard it. If Brother Yi were to head there alone, wouldn't he be throwing his life away?" The 10,000 Sword Sect's expression was bitter. After thinking for a moment he said, "No. I'll ask Senior Chongqing for permission to bring people to support Brother Yi." "Stop." Seeing that the 10,000 Sword Sect was about to go to the Supreme Longevity, Wu Lingfei immediately stopped him. "If we send a large number of people to destroy the Blood Fiend's altar, we won't be able to hold on until the Blood Fiends invade the island. If that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. You, Brother Xiao, and the others can't go and help. But if Brother Yi doesn't have anyone to support him on this mission, it's really a suicide mission." The 10,000 Sword Sect said with a hint of helplessness between his brows. He also knew that Wu Lingfei's words made sense. There was no problem with the Supreme Longevity's arrangement, but he was worried that something would happen to Night Sorrow. "It's enough for Night Sorrow to have friends like you. Leave the matter of destroying the Blood Fiend altar to him alone. I believe that he will definitely complete the mission. Wu Lingfei looked into the distance with a determined gaze. This all right. The 10,000 Sword Sect sighed and said, Don't worry, sisters-in-law. No matter how terrifying the Blood Fiend's attack is, we will protect you for Night Sorrow. We don't need special treatment. Go and prepare for the battle. Wu Lingfei was naturally grateful when she heard the 10,000 Sword Sect's words, but she still refused. Although she was pregnant, she didn't want to be a burden. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, Jing Yun continued, Go and fight in peace. I'll protect my sister here. All right. We will protect the island with our lives. The 10,000 Sword Sect said, then turned to look for Xiao Tianxian and the rest. He was prepared to go with them to the Supreme Longevity to report to the Blood Fiends for the battle to the death. At this time, Night Sorrow was already 1,000,000 miles away from the island. In the process, he had already discovered several groups of people from the Blood Fiends. But every time before the other party discovered him, he used the convenience of the Sea Serpent's Eye to successfully avoid them. Finally, he snuck onto land. Once he was on land, Night Sorrow immediately took out the map of the palace that he had obtained from Su Lei and started to study it. He guessed where the Blood Fiends would place the Blood Fiend altar. After carefully studying the map, he determined that the Blood Fiends would place the altar in a secret room directly below the palace. The design of this secret room was very ingenious. It was easy to defend and hard to attack. It was basically impossible to sneak in. He could only force his way in. If the Blood Fiends placed the altar inside, it would be very advantageous for their defense. Night Sorrow. Be careful. There's a situation ahead. Just as Night Sorrow was pondering, Xiao Wu suddenly reminded him. What's wrong? After being reminded, Night Sorrow immediately became alert and looked into the distance. He was instantly shocked. It turned out that a large group of people from the Blood Fiends had appeared in the void not far ahead. At a glance, there were about 200 people. These people were all heavenly sovereigns. At this time, they were flying towards the island under the lead of a half-step to Supreme Realm Expert. After discovering them, Night Sorrow immediately cast a secret rune on himself. But even so, he was still discovered by the leader of the Blood Fiends, Old Demon Blood Fiend. He saw that there were practitioners in the void far away. Old Demon Blood Fiend immediately frowned and looked to his left and right. He ordered, Go and take down that practitioner in the distance. Ha! There's someone there? The two upper heavenly sovereigns standing beside Old Demon Blood Fiend were stunned when they heard this. Forget it. I'll go personally. He realized that even though he had pointed out the direction, the two of them still had not discovered Night Sorrow. After Old Demon Blood Fiend said this, he chased after Yi Shang. This old fellow has such a strong aura. He shouldn't be easy to deal with. Moreover, there are so many heavenly sovereigns behind him. Let's escape, shall we? Xiao Wu immediately reminded Old Demon Blood Fiend when he saw him chasing after them. Okay, let's go. As Night Sorrow replied, he activated the Treya battle secret technique and the destruction super ability. Then, he used the 9 heaven-defying steps and fled into the distance. Ha! What a fast speed! Old Demon Blood Fiend exclaimed when he saw how fast Night Sorrow was. Then, he sped up and chased after him. Old fellow, you're so fast. Let's speed up. Xiao Wu immediately reminded Old Demon Blood Fiend when he sped up and closed the distance between them. Chapter 3299. Old Demon Blood Demon's speed is indeed terrifying. Looks like I have to ignite the power of my bloodline. Night Sorrow didn't even need to look back to sense Old Demon Blood Demon's aura. Without hesitation, he ignited his Phoenix bloodline and increased his speed again, increasing the distance between them. You Ant, you're really fast. Seeing that Night Sorrow could increase his speed again, Old Demon Blood Demon's face darkened. Then, he took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Nourished by the aura of the jade talisman, his speed also increased again. He caught up again. Oh no! That old guy caught up again. His speed is really extraordinary. Little Five said unhappily when she saw Old Demon Blood Demon catch up again. Normally, a normal half-step to the Supreme Realm Cultivator wouldn't be able to catch up to Night Sorrow after he used his full speed. However, not only could old demon Blood Demon catch up, but he also looked like he was doing it with ease. He probably had other methods to increase his speed that he hadn't used yet. Having guessed this, Knight Sorrow had no choice but to activate the Green Phoenix armor, which had been upgraded to the half-step paramount grade. Using the battle armor to support him, he increased his speed once again. When he first arrived at the Eternal Ancient Desolate World, he and Su Lei had encountered dozens of heavenly sovereigns and hadn't been able to activate it. However, under the pressure of old demon Blood Demon, he had no choice but to activate it. He increased the distance between them again. Half-step to the Supreme Realm battle armor? Good stuff. Seeing that Knight Sorrow had activated the Green Phoenix battle armor, old demon Blood Demon's eyebrows were filled with greed. Without hesitation, he ignited his bloodline and summoned the power of the altar, increasing his speed to be slightly faster than Knight Sorrow's. Once again, the distance between them was shortened. How troublesome. This old demon Blood Demon's speed is so fast. His battle power is probably very strong. Senior Longevity and the others might not be able to fight against him, especially with the support of the altar. Looks like I have to destroy this altar as soon as possible. Knight Sorrow, who was being chased by old demon Blood Demon, couldn't help but think to himself. We still have to increase our speed. The old guy is interested in your battle armor. Within the Eternal Divine Tower, Little Five, who had been paying attention to old demon Blood Demon, reminded him once more. I know, I'm thinking of a way. Knight Sorrow could sense that old demon Blood Fiend's aura was getting closer and closer. At this moment, he suddenly utilized Virtue Energy, and his speed increased a little more under the boost of Virtue Energy. However, as the quality of the power of Virtue was too low, it did not increase by much. It did not pull the distance between the two sides apart again. At this time, Knight Sorrow transmitted his voice to Xiaowu. This blood fiend is too difficult to deal with. Use the Eternal Divine Tower's power to attack him and slow him down. Good. However, I estimate that this attack will only be able to slow down its speed and won't cause much damage to it. Little Five immediately replied. It's already good enough to slow him down. Knight Sorrow said helplessly as he continued to execute the 9 defying steps. This old demon blood fiend's speed had completely surpassed his imagination. It gave him a tremendous pressure. Hearing this, Little Five immediately controls the Eternal Divine Tower and blasts an attack at old demon blood fiend. Another half-step Supreme State Divine Artifact. You really are a boy with many treasures. Facing the attack from the Eternal Divine Tower, old demon blood fiend's speed was greatly affected in order to dodge it. For a moment, he pulled far away from Knight Sorrow. At this time, he did not get angry but laughed instead. He was prepared to catch up with Knight Sorrow and take all the good things on him for himself. However, at this time, one of his subordinates suddenly transmitted his voice over. Patriarch, if you continue to chase, it will affect the overall situation of attacking them. This is a loss for the greater good. What you said makes sense. I can sense that this kid still has treasures on him. I really can't catch up to him for a while. Hearing this, old demon blood fiend immediately stopped. He said somewhat unwillingly, this time, I'll let you off easy. Then, he returned to the team and transmitted his voice to one of his subordinates. Shui Hong, bring 10 people back to the palace and remind second brother to tighten the defenses. I think this kid's target is very likely the blood fiend altar. Yes, Patriarch. The cultivator called Shui Hong immediately brought 10 heavenly sovereigns and flew in the direction of the palace. Knight Sorrow, who realized that old demon blood fiend had given up on chasing him, had a grave expression. According to his experience and judgment, the blood fiend organization, which had turned out in full force, was obviously stronger than the cultivators of the two realms. It would not be easy for them to defend the island. He could not help but transmit his voice. Do you think I should return to the foggy area and look for help? Or continue to destroy the altar? I think you'll waste too much time returning to Lu Tian Academy. You won't be able to get help in time. Moreover, most of the people you can invite are from the foggy area. It will take time to purify all of them. By the time you bring people back, the battle will have already ended. So for now, the most important thing is to destroy the blood fiend altar. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Little Seven helped to analyze. Your analysis makes sense. As the saying goes, Only speed is invincible in the world of martial arts. If I can destroy the Blood Fiend altar before they attack, old Demon Blood Fiend might give up on this attack. At that time, I can go back to the foggy area and bring more people over. I'll kill them all. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow still felt that he should continue to destroy the altar. Coincidentally, he had some speed boost and was flying towards the palace at top speed. After 5 days of flying without rest, Knight Sorrow finally arrived at the periphery of the palace occupied by the Blood Fiend organization. In front of him, the entire palace was enveloped by an array. It looked like it was hidden in fog. Knight Sorrow checked and realized that he could not see anything clearly. He immediately activated the sea serpent's eye and observed. Looking at it, he was so angry that his guts were rising. The people of the Blood Fiend organization had actually hung the corpses of cultivators from the eternal ancient desolate world outside the walls of the palace. These corpses had all lost their blood. They all looked like dried corpses, each more ferocious than the last. Knight Sorrow thought to himself, among these people, there's probably Su Lei's family. When this is over, I'll help bury them. He did not want to waste any time and summoned the restriction-breaking hammers. He said, think of a way to break a corner of the array outside the palace. We need to sneak in. The array in front of us should be set up by that old demon Blood Fiend. If he was here, it would be difficult to not alert the enemy. But he has already gone to the island. It shouldn't be difficult to break it without anyone knowing. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said and started to break the array with the female hammer. While Yi Shan remained vigilant, he calmly waited for the results. Chapter 3300. How is it? Is this formation very hard to break? I found a group of patrolling soldiers. After waiting for about an hour, the restriction-breaking hammer still didn't succeed. Knight Sorrow couldn't help but ask when he found a group of patrolling soldiers from the Blood Evil organization in the distance. According to his judgment, these patrolling soldiers would find him and the restriction-breaking hammer in about 20 breaths. If they couldn't break the formation in 20 breaths, it would be best to retreat and wait for the patrolling soldiers to leave before trying to break the formation again. Soon. We can break the formation at any time. Don't be anxious. If we give up now, we will have to break the formation again later. It will be very troublesome. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer replied as he quickly broke the formation with the female hammer. They will find us in a dozen breaths. Knight Sorrow observed again and confirmed that this group of patrolling soldiers was coming over. He reminded them again. We should be able to break the formation here before they arrive. The formation is invisible. After we break it, we will quickly find a place to hide. These patrolling soldiers won't find us at all. The male hammer looked in the direction Knight Sorrow pointed and found that he couldn't see them with his ability. He immediately realized that the patrolling soldiers couldn't see them either. It was just that Knight Sorrow's eye technique was so powerful that he could find the patrolling soldiers. 10 breaths. Knight Sorrow, who was observing this group of patrolling soldiers, reminded them again after a few breaths. Soon. We will be able to break it in less than 5 breaths. Xiong Chue quickly replied. As soon as he finished speaking, the formation in front of them was successfully broken in less than 3 breaths. The male hammer immediately reminded them, let's go. Let's go in. Enter my space grotto heaven. Knight Sorrow, who was already looking at the route, said and put the restriction-breaking hammer and the eternal divine tower into his space grotto heaven. Then, he quickly covered himself with a layer of secret runes and sneaked into the palace. Because his location would soon be exposed to the patrolling soldiers, he directly used the 33 Heavens Combat Mystic and Destruction Theurgy. He used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heaven and quickly flew in another direction. At this moment, the Imperial Palace was shrouded in a dense mist. It looked very ethereal. Knight Sorrow approached the entrance of the secret chamber according to the location marked on the map. Once he found the place, he would charge in and destroy the Blood Fiend altar. According to his judgment, this was the safest place for the Blood Fiend altar. As long as the people from the Blood Evil organization weren't stupid, they would have placed it below the palace. There's a cultivator's aura. Just as Knight Sorrow dodged the patrolling soldiers and headed towards the secret room, a voice suddenly rang out. The captain of the patrol team suddenly frowned and said, Really? Who would have the guts to sneak into our place to court death? A cultivator beside him said in disbelief. At this moment, the patrol team's captain, Xuexi, sniffed carefully and said, "There's someone. Someone must have snuck in. I can still smell his scent." After saying that, he returned to his original form from his human form. It turned out that he was a three-headed silver wolf. After transforming, he used his 3 heads to sniff around. He said, "Follow me. If we catch the intruder, it'll definitely be a great merit. We can't let the other teams take the lead. Captain, your nose is really unparalleled in the world. We didn't notice anything at all," one of the members of the team said fawningly. However, these people really admired the 3-headed silver wolf in front of them. He could even detect a scent that ordinary people couldn't detect at all. Therefore, when Night Sorrow snuck in, they quickly followed. Could it be that I've been discovered? After walking for a short while, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. He discovered that the team behind him had been following the path he had taken. If it wasn't for his fast speed, he would have been caught up. He immediately understood that he had left some loophole that they had noticed. This team seems to be greedy for merit. They want to rely on the strength of a team to capture me and then exchange for rewards. This is a good opportunity for me. After thinking for a moment, he set up a 5-bull formation and an illusion formation on the path he had taken. Then, in the illusion formation, he waited for the team that was following him to fall into the trap. About 30 breaths later, under the leadership of the 3-headed silver wolf, the team rushed directly into the formation where Night Sorrow was hiding. Seeing that Night Sorrow only had the strength of a lower heavenly sovereign, the 3-headed silver wolf immediately sniffed with his 3 noses and said, "There's no mistake. The scent is coming from this person in front of us. He is only a lower heavenly sovereign. We don't need to report to capture him, and we can capture him. Your nose is really good." Night Sorrow looked at the 3-headed silver wolf and sneered. He wasn't being sarcastic. He really thought that the 3-headed silver wolf's nose was amazing. This was because ordinary heavenly sovereigns couldn't use their noses to detect him sneaking in. Your skill in breaking the formation is also not bad. You can actually sneak in here without anyone noticing. However, it's a pity that you met me. Brothers, the opportunity to make a contribution has come. Take him down and hand him over to the second leader. We will definitely be rewarded handsomely. After the 3-headed silver wolf confirmed that Night Sorrow was the person he was looking for, he transformed back into his human form and commanded the few cultivators to take action. "Do you think it's a good thing that you found me? Well, you can finally break away from this bloodthirsty organization in front of you." Night Sorrow glanced at the 3-headed silver wolf and said coldly, "It's best to capture him alive." The 3-headed silver wolf, who was staring at Night Sorrow, ordered coldly. The few cultivators in front of him were not only heavenly sovereigns, but they were also middle heavenly sovereigns. He was an upper heavenly sovereign. He felt that capturing a lower heavenly sovereign was a piece of cake. If you surrender, you will suffer a lot less torture. You can't imagine the torture methods that we, the Blood Evil organization, use. One of the cultivators immediately threatened when he saw that Night Sorrow had released his divine territory and was ready to fight. As for the others, they all launched attacks at Yi Sorrow. "I'm different from you. Although you have done a lot of evil, I have no interest in torturing people. The few of you will be killed in an instant." Night Sorrow directly took out his golden heavenly halberd and used the mysterious azure divine spear art. The golden heavenly halberd was already a half-step to the supreme divine artifact. It was not something that these people could withstand. He quickly killed all the subordinates of the 3-headed silver wolf with a spear strike. Seeing this scene, the 3-headed silver wolf immediately crushed a bracelet on his arm. Seeing the 3-headed silver wolf's performance, Night Sorrow said, "I have already set up a formation around you. It's too late for you to inform others. If you want to live, I'll give you a chance." Chapter 3301. Give me a chance. Do you think you have victory in your hands? Let me tell you, in this place, even a stronger upper heavenly sovereign is no match for me, let alone you. The 3-eyed silver wolf said maliciously. Then, it transformed back into its wolf form and roared fiercely. "Since you are so confident, then let's fight. Let's see who is the one with blind confidence." Night Sorrow looked at the 3-eyed silver wolf and said disdainfully, Now, he could even fight against a weaker half-step to Supreme Realm. Even if the three-eyed silver wolf was supported by the altar, it should not be strong enough to fight against a half-step to Supreme Realm expert. Therefore, the outcome of the battle was already decided. Humph. You are a lower heavenly sovereign. Although your talent is not bad, you are too blindly confident. You are courting death by coming here. Your half-step to Supreme Realm divine weapon is mine. After roaring the last few words, the three-eyed silver wolf's hair all stood on end. It shot towards Night Sorrow rapidly. The three-eyed silver wolf could shoot out tens of thousands of hairs. After shooting out, countless shadows appeared in the void. It seemed that a large area in the void was occupied by the hairs. There was nowhere to hide. You do have a certain level of strength, but it is not enough. Night Sorrow immediately activated the sea serpent's eye to observe the hairs that were hiding. He filtered out all the fake hairs. Then, he used the golden heavenly halberd, which had been upgraded to a half-step to Supreme Realm divine weapon, to shoot out the fiery demon spear. This time, the fiery demon spear had the support of the fiery phoenix gold. Its power was much stronger than before. When it was used, it immediately burned all the hairs that flew out of the three-eyed silver wolf. Damn it! You deserve to die! After the hairs flew out, they were burned directly. There was no chance to summon them back. The three-eyed silver wolf was furious. The corners of its mouth started to tremble as it chanted a complicated spell. After a while, all the hairs on its body turned blood red. It looked extremely ferocious. You have the support of the altar, right? Let's see what is so special about the altar. Seeing the three-eyed silver wolf turn blood red, Night Sorrow did not immediately attack. Instead, he left an opportunity for him to attack. While Night Sorrow waited, the three-eyed silver wolf had completely transformed into a three-eyed blood wolf. Not only had his entire body turned blood red, but blood was also dripping from his body non-stop. He looked incomparably evil. Why aren't you making a move? Are you waiting for death? After receiving the altar support, the three-eyed silver wolf roared and pounced at Night Sorrow. His speed was 2 to 3 times faster than before. In terms of strength, it had even increased by 5 to 6 times. Night Sorrow, who took the attack head-on, wasn't injured, but he was secretly surprised. He thought to himself, if that old demon blood fiend gets the support of the altar and his strength increases by 4 to 5 times, even if Senior Longevity and the coiling dragon spear work together, they might not be his match. It seems that I have to destroy the altar as soon as possible. At this time, Night Sorrow didn't know whether the battle on the island had started or not. He was very worried about the situation there. Since he knew that the altar was not ordinary, he was prepared to no longer test the three-eyed silver wolf. He immediately used Extreme Flame Phantom. Without giving the three-eyed silver wolf a chance to counterattack, he immediately crippled it. What? This is impossible. It was crippled by Night Sorrow's Extreme Flame Phantom. The three-eyed silver wolf, who only had one breath left, roared in disbelief. Now, I will give you another chance to choose. Submit or die. Night Sorrow looked at the dying three-eyed silver wolf and said. At this time, he had already completely crippled it. This three-eyed silver wolf did not have the ability to self-destruct. He was not worried that the three-eyed silver wolf would kill itself. You want me to betray Blood Fiend Ancestor? That's impossible. Just kill me. Under such circumstances, the three-eyed silver wolf still had no intention of submitting. It struggled, wanting to kill itself, but it couldn't. Let me see if you have a backbone, or if the Blood Fiend Ancestor has better methods. After the three-eyed silver wolf rejected him, Night Sorrow guessed that the Blood Fiend organization had the ability to control minds. He immediately used the power of merit on it, purifying all the Blood Fiend chi in its body. Then, he looked at the three-eyed silver wolf again and found that it had curled up into a ball due to its weakness. It even looked a little pitiful. At this time Night Sorrow asked again, Now tell me, do you choose to submit or die and sacrifice yourself to the Blood Fiend Ancestor? I was defeated by the Blood Fiend organization, and then they used a secret technique to brainwash me. It was you who purified me. I choose to submit to you. Our entire clan was wiped out by them. I want revenge. The three-eyed silver wolf recovered from its daze and said weakly. Back then, it was also one of the top existences in the eternal ancient desolate world. Later, it was defeated by the Blood Fiend organization. Like a few other cultivators, it was compatible with the Blood Fiend organization's secret technique and finally became a member of the organization. Good. I will let you recover quickly. Enter my Eternal Divine Tower. Night Sorrow said and summoned the Eternal Divine Tower. Seeing that the three-eyed silver wolf did not have the ability to enter by itself, he released a stream of divine essence and sent it into the Eternal Divine Tower. Then, he asked Xiaowu to give it an elixir. Night Sorrow entered an empty room and set up a concealment array, waiting for the three-eyed silver wolf to recover. After about 30 breaths, the three-eyed silver wolf recovered a little and said, "Master, why did you sneak in here?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately replied, "I represent the Eternal Supreme World and the Eternal Ancient Desolate World to destroy the Blood Fiend altar. My goal is naturally to reduce the strength of the Blood Fiend organization." What? Destroy the Blood Fiend altar? I'm afraid that with Master's ability, you can't do it. Hearing this, the three-eyed silver wolf replied pessimistically. How difficult would it be to destroy the Blood Fiend altar? Tell me about it. Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and asked. First of all, this Blood Fiend altar is located in a secret chamber below the palace. If you want to enter, you can only kill your way in from the front. Secondly, this Blood Fiend altar is guarded by more than 30 members of the Blood Fiend organization. Also not counting them, there are 70 to 80 cultivators patrolling the palace. If you fight, you will encounter the attacks of hundreds of heavenly sovereigns. How can you win? Speaking up to this point, the three-eyed silver wolf added, in addition, the person in charge of guarding the Blood Fiend organization is the second leader of the organization. He has just advanced a half-step to Extreme Realm recently, and his strength is frighteningly strong. Think about it. How difficult is it to destroy this Blood Fiend altar? What? Not only is there a half-step to Extreme Realm expert, there are also hundreds of heavenly sovereigns? Hearing this, no matter how confident Night Sorrow was in his own strength, he could not help but gasp. He did not expect that after the Blood Fiend organization attacked the island and took away so many heavenly sovereigns, there were still so many left in their nest. Chapter 3302. Yes. Hundreds of heavenly sovereigns are like a heavenly moat in front of us. The three-eyed silver wolf sighed and said, and this is because the blood demon old demon is extremely evil. He threw all the cultivators below the heavenly sovereign level into the blood pool and used their flesh and blood to nourish the blood demon altar. Otherwise, there would be tens of thousands of earthly sovereigns and supremes here. Then there would be guards every 10 steps and sentries every 100 steps. I was wondering why there were no earthly sovereigns in the team led by the blood demon old demon and the palace. So they were all taken care of by the blood demon old demon. This old devil is truly evil to the extreme. When Night Sorrow heard that the blood demon old demon had thrown tens of thousands of earthly sovereigns and supremes into the blood pool, he was even more furious. After thinking for a while, he said, how many of the cultivators in the palace are like you, from the eternal ancient desolate world? I'm not too sure about that. But according to my estimation, other than the 30 inside who are the Blood Demon Organization's henchmen, the patrol team outside shouldn't be. The three-eyed silver wolf thought for a while and said, then it's easy. We'll take them down one by one and I'll think of a way to purify them all. Then we'll attack the altar below together. Night Sorrow said and continued, tell me the patrolling patterns of the patrol teams. We'll plan and save all the suitable people. If we can do that, our success rate will increase to 50%. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf thought about its own situation and felt that it was reliable. It immediately explained the distribution of the patrol teams to Night Sorrow. It turned out that although there were more than 10 patrol teams in the palace, they were all quite far away from each other. If Night Sorrow could find a chance to set up a trap array, with his strength, it wouldn't be too difficult to break through the teams one by one. After the three-eyed silver wolf finished, Night Sorrow smiled and said, we should thank Su Lei for building the palace so majestic and making the patrol teams so far apart. Yes. In the end, the blood demon old demon was still one step behind. He didn't expect Master's shocking ability. Sensing Night Sorrow's confidence, the three-eyed silver wolf said flatteringly, if the people he left behind are all mentally loyal to the bloody evil organization, it'll be really difficult for us. Night Sorrow said and followed the three-eyed silver wolf's instructions to set up a trapping array. Not long after, A 6-man patrol team crashed into the trapping array. The female cultivator leading the group, Qing Yun, saw Night Sorrow and immediately scolded, "How dare you break into the forbidden area of the Blood Fiend organization? You are courting death. I'm saving you." Night Sorrow glanced at the 6 people in front of him and felt that their auras were similar to the 3-eyed silver wolf. He was immediately sure that they had all been brainwashed by the Blood Evil organization. As soon as he finished speaking, he activated the Treastrimsa Heaven's battle secret technique and Destruction Divine ability. He used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to execute the Azure Profound Divine Spear art. In just a few moments, the 6 people in front of him were completely suppressed. When these people summoned the power of blood and evil at the same time and received the support of the altar, he immediately used the power of virtue to purify all of them. After being purified by the power of virtue one after another, Qing Yun and the rest's gaze immediately became erratic and became somewhat at a loss. It was similar to the 3-eyed silver wolf that had just recovered. After recovering for a while, Qing Yun looked at Night Sorrow with a puzzled gaze and said, "It was you who saved us from the hands of the Blood Fiend organization?"
Yes.
"Next, I need you to properly recover and then destroy the Blood Fiend altar with me." Night Sorrow looked at Qing Yun and the rest and said word by word. "But the altar below is heavily guarded and there is also a half-step extreme realm expert, Shui Yan, overseeing it. With our strength, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to destroy the Blood Fiend altar." After recovering for a moment, Qing Yun immediately understood the situation in front of her. She slowly said. At this moment, the 3-eyed silver wolf walked out of the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "At the beginning, I also thought so. But Master has the ability to purify and save all the patrolling teams outside. With everyone's help, there is still hope to destroy the altar." 3-eyed silver wolf. "What you said makes sense, but can this plan be carried out smoothly?" Hearing the 3-eyed silver wolf's words, Qing Yun immediately said doubtfully, "Aren't you guys an example? If there are no accidents, the other team should also be purified quickly. At that time, we will kill all those who are loyal to the Blood Fiend organization. The rest will attack the Blood Fiend altar together." The 3-eyed silver wolf continued, "That will work. This Blood Fiend old demon and the Blood Fiend organization destroyed my eternal ancient desolate world and used cruel methods to kill so many people. They should receive the punishment they deserve. How do you need me to cooperate? As long as I can do it, Qing Yun will not refuse." Qing Yun thought for a moment and said firmly. The 5 cultivators behind her said the same thing. "Very good. You guys follow me and attack the next team." There was no time to lose. Seeing that Qing Yun was cooperating, Night Sorrow said and led them to the next target location. However, they had not reached the location yet. The 3-eyed silver wolf suddenly said, "No! Someone is coming." "Someone is coming? Is it the patrolling team?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow looked at the 3-eyed silver wolf and asked, "No. It's the smell coming from outside the palace. The person who came seems to be Blood Fiend old demon's right-hand man, Shui Hong." The 3-eyed silver wolf sniffed carefully and judged. Blood Fiend old demon's right-hand man. Not good, he should be back to report. I met the old demon on the way. After thinking for a moment, Night Sorrow immediately analyzed what was going on. He looked at everyone and said, "Follow me and leave the palace to stop Shui Hong and the others."
Okay.
However, if we don't want to be exposed, we might need to set up a formation on their route in advance. The 3-eyed silver wolf reminded. Of course. You all know the situation of the Blood Fiend organization. Tell me, which path will Shui Hong take when he returns? Night Sorrow looked in the direction the 3-eyed silver wolf pointed at but did not see anything. It was obvious that the 3-eyed silver wolf's sense of smell was heaven-defying. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Qing Yun judged, if Shui Hong gets close to the palace, he will definitely gather all the patrolling teams together. If the patrolling teams are gathered together, it will be difficult to deal with them. We need to stop them outside the palace. So, let's set up a formation outside the palace.
Okay.
You all choose a location and I will set up the formation immediately. Night Sorrow said and led everyone out of the palace to stop them outside the palace. Moreover, at the location designated by the 3-eyed silver wolf, they set up the 5-bull formation, illusion formation and trap formation. Shui Hong was Blood Fiend old demon's right-hand man. Night Sorrow wanted to capture him alive and use his identity to directly enter the secret chamber. Therefore they were fully prepared. Chapter 3303. By the time Night Sorrow had finished setting up the array, Xuehong and the rest had not arrived yet. The three-eyed silver wolf realized that there was still time and asked, "Master, are you prepared to capture Xuehong alive and force him to open the path to the altar?" "Yes, I do have such an idea. But I don't know if it's easy to achieve." As Night Sorrow spoke, he looked into the distance with a sea serpent's eye. He could vaguely see the figures of Xuehong and the rest. There were 11 of them, all of whom were upper heavenly sovereigns, and they were heading towards the palace. "Master, I feel that this idea of yours should be very difficult to realize. The members of the Blood Evil organization are 100% loyal to the organization. Even if you threaten him with death, Xuehong will never bring us in." After Night Sorrow spoke, the three-eyed silver wolf made his judgment. Hearing their words, Qing Yun also said, "Yes. Some of the followers of the Blood Evil organization would rather self-destruct than betray the organization. It's impossible to use Xuehong to enter the secret room. I've thought about what you said. I'm thinking that if we capture him alive, Xuehong will not agree to bring us in. Then, we can read his memory and turn him into a puppet. We can use the puppet to deceive the second leader of the Blood Evil organization." After hearing what the three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun said, Night Sorrow immediately explained. "I see. That's a feasible idea. But, I'm not sure if reading Xuehong's memory will cause him to self-destruct," the three-eyed silver wolf said worriedly. At that moment, Xuehong and the rest were approaching. Night Sorrow did not reply but said, "They are here. Prepare for battle." "Yes." The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun replied immediately. Then, they concealed their auras and hid in the array so that they would not be exposed. "Don't worry. If we don't check the array carefully, we won't be discovered. The array inscriptions are hidden." When Night Sorrow saw that everyone was being careful, he reminded them. Of course, his array was meant for ordinary people. If it was a superpower house who was half a step to the Supreme Realm, they would be able to detect it easily. As for Xuehong and the others, they had not expected Night Sorrow to arrive at the Imperial Palace ahead of time and set up the spell formation. In a moment of carelessness, all of them had entered the formation. After the array formation was activated, Xuehong's expression changed drastically when he saw Night Sorrow. "It's you." Just like what the Patriarch said, "You are indeed plotting something against the palace." "Plot? What I'm plotting is to exterminate the Blood Evil organization directly. Kill him." Night Sorrow observed with a sea serpent's eye and confirmed that Xuehong and the others were stronger than the three-eyed silver wolf and the others. However, they did not have the absolute advantage, so they directly gave the order. "You are courting death. How dare you be so arrogant in the territory of the Blood Evil organization? Let's see how you're going to deal with this." Seeing that Night Sorrow did not waste any more words and had directly entered combat mode, Xuehong immediately summoned the power of the altar. After the power of the sacrificial altar attached to his body, Xuehong's 7 orifices started to bleed ferociously. He raised his hand and wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth. With a sinister smile he said, "All of you die. Do you think that you are invincible after summoning the power of the sacrificial altar?" Looking at Xuehong, Night Sorrow realized that Xuehong was almost at the level of half-step to Supreme Realm, but he did not panic at all. After berating him, he directly activated the 5 Bulls formation. After the 5 Bulls roared, the members of the Blood Evil organization, who were already bleeding from their 7 orifices, started to bleed in many places. They looked extremely ferocious. Among them, Xuehong's skin was split open and countless bloody scars appeared. What kind of spell is this? At this moment, Xuehong finally understood how powerful the spell formation in front of him was. With a loud roar, he took out a long black spear and stabbed it at Night Sorrow. He wanted to rely on the strength of half-step to Supreme Realm to kill Night Sorrow directly. He knew that as long as he killed Night Sorrow, the rest of the people present would definitely collapse without a fight. "How dare you attack with your spear in front of me?" Seeing Xuehong's spear coming at him, Night Sorrow roared. He took out his golden heavenly halberd and clashed with it. Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd was a half-step to Supreme Realm divine weapon. Xuehong's divine weapon was at the level of a heavenly supreme.
When the two of them clashed, the result was obvious. Xue Hong's divine weapon was broken by Night Sorrow. What? A half-step to Supreme Realm divine weapon is so powerful? When old demon Blood Evil was chasing Night Sorrow, Xue Hong had already heard him mention that Night Sorrow had a half-step to Supreme Realm divine weapon. However, he was not alarmed. At this moment, when the divine weapon in his hand was broken, he finally understood how big the difference between the two of them was. This is not considered powerful. While Xue Hong was stunned, Night Sorrow used his golden heavenly halberd to perform the mysterious Azure Godly Spear technique. He fought with Xue Hong. Although Xue Hong was supported by the altar, he was still in the five-bull formation. After fighting with Night Sorrow for a while, he realized that he was definitely not a match for Night Sorrow. The thought of escaping rose in his mind. According to his plan, as long as he rushed out of the trap formation in front of him and summoned the patrol team, defeating Night Sorrow and the rest would be a piece of cake. However, Xue Hong quickly realized that it was almost impossible to escape from the formation in front of him. This was because they realized that the formation in front of them was a chain formation. Not only did it include the five-bull formation, there was also a trap formation and an illusion formation. They could not break it at all. At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf, Qing Yun and the rest were fighting with some of Xue Hong's subordinates. The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun were relatively weaker. Hence, they did not perform well and were at a disadvantage. Seeing this situation, Night Sorrow kept helping the three-eyed silver wolf and the rest while suppressing Xue Hong. With his help, they quickly killed all of Xue Hong's subordinates. When Xue Hong was the only one left, Night Sorrow looked at him and said, "If you cooperate with me and enter the secret room where the altar is, I will spare your life. I will spare your life. Otherwise, you will be killed on the spot." Humph. The members of the Blood Evil organization are not cowards. We will not be like these guys who chose to surrender in a moment. Just kill me. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Xue Hong immediately said with disdain, "Since you have made such a choice, don't blame me for being ruthless." Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe Xue Hong. Then, he activated the Treastrimsa Battle Secret Technique and the Destruction Divine ability. He used the Extreme Flame Phantom on him. As soon as the Extreme Flame Phantom was used, Xue Hong was immediately sent flying. When Xue Hong was sent flying, Night Sorrow immediately used the 9 heaven-defying steps to get close to him. Then, he stabbed his spear towards his dantian. He was going to cripple Xue Hong first. Ghost Face Heart-Protecting Mirror. At this moment, Xue Hong saw that he could not defend against Night Sorrow's attack and immediately roared. Then, a bright and clean bronze mirror appeared in front of Xue Hong's chest. www. Chapter 3304. Boom! After Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd hit Xue Hong's chest, there was a loud explosion. The ripples from the explosion destroyed Xue Hong and destroyed the array that Night Sorrow had set up. Not good. Xue Hong wants to use this trick to alert all the patrol squads. After the array was destroyed, Night Sorrow immediately understood Xue Hong's intentions. However, things had already happened and he could not undo it. He immediately set up a new array. He was ready for a new battle. The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun were shocked. After thinking for a while, the three-eyed silver wolf said, "Master, the situation is not good. Why don't we retreat first and plan again later? If we face the attack of a large number of patrol teams, I'm afraid we won't be able to withstand it." Now, Blood Demon Old Demon and the Baleful Blood Organization should be fighting with the two worlds' allied army. And Blood Demon Old Demon's side has an obvious advantage. We have to destroy the altar as soon as possible. There is no time to waste. As for the patrol teams in front of us, they should be coming in waves. I don't care about them. After explaining, Night Sorrow held the golden heavenly halberd and stood outside the palace to welcome the arrival of the battle. The truth was just as he said. Blood Demon Old Demon had already begun to attack the island's defensive array. When the array was destroyed, the people from the Eternal Supreme World and Eternal Ancient Desolate World could only fight to the death. If Blood Demon Old Demon rushed into the living area, Jing Yun, Wu Lingfei and the rest would definitely be in a life-and-death situation. This was something that Night Sorrow did not want to see happen. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf sniffed and said, The first batch of people that came was indeed a small team. After that, 2 more teams came together. As for the rest of the teams, they should be arriving at about the same time. According to this frequency, it shouldn't be a big threat. After saying that, Night Sorrow stood in the array and continued to wait for the patrol teams to arrive. Not long after, the first 6-man team descended from the sky. The team leader looked at Night Sorrow and said, "No matter why he is here, kill him." Yes. The few cultivators in the team responded and all of them attacked Night Sorrow. At this moment, the 3-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun wanted to attack. However, Night Sorrow stopped them and said, "Stay in the concealment formation, don't move. I can get rid of a small team in no time." After saying that, he activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique and destruction divine ability. He brandished the golden heavenly halberd and unleashed extreme flame phantom. After Night Sorrow used his strongest and fastest attack, the cultivators in front of him could not block it at all. The few of them were quickly suppressed. After suppressing the 6 of them, Night Sorrow immediately used his virtue power to purify them. After purifying the 6 of them, Night Sorrow left them to the 3-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun. "I'll leave the rest to you. Those who don't leave the Blood Evil organization will be killed directly." "Yes, Master. Yes." The 3-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun, who were still in shock, answered one after another. They were extremely fearful of the completely unleashed Night Sorrow. They felt that the current him was like a god of war that could kill anyone. "Go and do it," Night Sorrow said again, just in time to see 2 teams rushing over together. He soared into the air once again and unleashed extreme flame phantom at them. This time, after all, the other party had 12 Sky Sovereigns. After Night Sorrow used this move, although 3 Sky Sovereigns were heavily injured. However, he, who was focused on attacking and did not think of defending, was also hit several times. However, all of these were blocked by the activated Azure Phoenix battle armor. Such defensive power. I'm afraid he can already fight with old demon Blood Evil. Seeing that Night Sorrow was continuously attacked and did not suffer any injuries, Qing Yun was shocked again. She felt that whether it was in terms of attack or defense, Night Sorrow, he had already surpassed the realm of Sky Sovereign and reached the level of half-step extreme realm. Among the lower heavenly sovereigns, this was probably the only one. The 3-eyed silver wolf was also shocked, but he did not say anything. Instead, he immediately began to persuade the few people who had been purified to surrender. Soon, the few cultivators were persuaded by the 3-eyed silver wolf. After all, they were all people whose clans had been wiped out by the Blood Evil organization. After the few of them joined, Night Sorrow's lineup immediately became more than 10. The 3-eyed silver wolf immediately sent a voice transmission. "Master, we're already quite large. Let everyone fight together and share your burden? No need, my recovery ability is very fast. I'll fight them myself and then quickly recover. This way, I can minimize the losses." After the 3-eyed silver wolf's voice transmission, Night Sorrow immediately replied. After all, the Leaken bloodline in his body came from a supreme venerable, so his recovery ability was very strong. No matter how tragic the battle in front of him was, he could recover very quickly. Therefore, he wanted to leave the purified cultivators for the final battle to destroy the altar. He wanted to use the advantage of numbers to destroy the altar in one wave. Hearing this, the 3-eyed silver wolf continued, "Then let's recover our strength and cheer for Master." "All right, just watch," Night Sorrow said and continued to fight with the patrol team that had rushed over. About an hour later, Night Sorrow successfully purified all the teams. Apart from the ones he had killed, there were more than 50 cultivators who had joined his team. While these cultivators were recovering, Night Sorrow asked, "Who knows where the entrance to the secret chamber is?" "I don't know. We know that the altar is in the secret chamber below. But we don't know the location of the entrance at all." "That's right. Blood Evil Old Demon and the others don't let us come into contact with the real core. Every time we enter, we are brought in by Blood Evil Old Demon using the Space Grotto Heaven." Hearing this question, Qing Yun and the others replied helplessly. At this time the 3-eyed silver wolf smiled and said, "Master, I can find the location of the entrance." "Really?" Night Sorrow immediately asked in surprise. "Of course it's true. I can smell the difference in the aura nearby. From this, I can determine the location of the entrance. The three-eyed silver wolf said proudly. Good. Then I'll have to trouble the others to enter the eternal divine tower to recover. Three-eyed silver wolf. Bring me to find the entrance. After getting a positive answer, Knight Sorrow immediately ordered. Then, he let everyone enter the 10 times space of the eternal divine tower to recover. He followed behind the three-eyed silver wolf to find the entrance to the secret chamber. In fact, the entrance was marked on the map that Su Lei had given him. But this entrance had long been modified by the Blood Evil organization. This was something that Knight Sorrow had guessed long ago. So, he didn't even look for the entrance on the map. www. Chapter 3305. The truth was exactly as Knight Sorrow had predicted. The people of Bloodfiend had long changed the location of the secret chamber's entrance to another place. And they had set up several fake entrances. After checking 5 or 6 of them, Knight Sorrow finally found the real secret chamber's entrance under the lead of the three-eyed silver wolf. Through the entrance, they entered the secret chamber's passageway. In other words, the passageway to the small world. Because this was a small world, it was impossible to enter by digging from the side. After entering the long passageway, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately reminded, Master! I've heard that there are many mechanisms set up in this passageway. It's extremely difficult to pass through it. We have to be careful. You enter the Eternal Divine Tower first. I'll go through this passageway myself. In addition, I'll remember today's merit. Knight Sorrow said and opened the sea serpent's eye to carefully observe the path ahead. Soon, he saw that there were many formation patterns in the passageway. Because he couldn't see what these formation patterns were for, Knight Sorrow summoned the restriction breaking hammer. He said, Take a look at the formation patterns in this passage. What's going on? Wait a moment, let's observe. The male hammer of the restriction breaking hammer said and started to observe with the female hammer. On the other side, the Eternal Divine Tower also started to figure it out. But they couldn't see what was going on. The male hammer said helplessly, The formation patterns in front of us seem to be extraordinary. We can't see what's going on. Xiaowu guessed with uncertainty, I think it should be some offensive formation patterns. Or an illusion array. It's nothing more than these. Since you can't see it, let's barge in. Knight Sorrow knew that the restriction-breaking hammer and the Eternal Divine Tower couldn't see what was going on. He directly held the golden heavenly halberd and attacked. At this moment, he was worried about his family and friends on the island and didn't want to delay at all. He was more reckless than usual. After Knight Sorrow activated the first batch of formation patterns. In the passageway, 10 extremely hideous-looking blood corpses were immediately summoned. In the Eternal Divine Tower, Qing Yun saw the 10 blood corpses and immediately warned, Be careful. These are cultivated by the Blood Fiend organization using the blood pool. It only has the instinct to attack, but no real consciousness. Don't worry, I'll be fine against these things. However, by activating this rune, the person inside should have already alerted the enemy. A bitter battle is unavoidable. Knight Sorrow said and charged towards the 10 blood corpses with the golden heavenly halberd in hand. Even after using the half-step paramount divine artifact, golden heavenly halberd, to stab at the blood corpses several times, it did not have much effect. He said in surprise, The defense of these blood corpses is really strong. As he spoke, Knight Sorrow directly activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique as well as his annihilation divine ability. He used the Qing Xian godly spear technique on these blood corpses. Clang! 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 However, after a series of metallic sounds, Knight Sorrow suddenly realized that these blood corpses had copper skin and iron bones. Even an attack of this level would not be able to harm him. At this moment, he had already been hit several times. He's really not easy to deal with. After being continuously pushed back by the blood corpses, Knight Sorrow immediately thought of a countermeasure. After thinking for a while, his eyes suddenly lit up. He immediately summoned the Dragon of Virtue and let it wrap around the golden heavenly halberd. Once again, he used the Qing Xian godly spear technique on the 10 blood corpses. This time, every time the golden heavenly halberd stabbed the blood corpses, there would be a burst of sizzling sounds. After being attacked,
the blood corpses would be ignited by the power of virtue. Soon, the 10 blood corpses were burned by the power of virtue. In the tunnel, they gradually turned into dust. After killing the 10 heavenly sovereign-level blood corpses, Knight Sorrow's power of virtue also increased. Because his power of virtue's base level was very low, it increased very quickly. It directly advanced to the level of lower earthly sovereign. It could be said that he had caught up by a lot. When he realized that his power of virtue had increased by so much, Knight Sorrow immediately said excitedly, "Very good. Before the final battle, increasing my power of virtue to the level of earthly sovereign will definitely play a very good role in the process of destroying the altar." "Congratulations, Master. Your superpower has increased." Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the three-eyed silver wolf immediately congratulated him. Qing Yun and the rest were a little uncomfortable with the three-eyed silver wolf calling him master. This was because they all knew the three-eyed silver wolf and knew that he was once one of the giants of the eternal ancient desolate world. He was second only to the top figures like Su Lei. The three-eyed silver wolf naturally saw through Qing Yun and the rest's thoughts. In the eternal divine tower he smiled and said, "You don't understand." Qing Yun and the rest did not say anything. Instead, their gazes once again landed on Knight Sorrow. At this moment, Knight Sorrow, after burning the power of lower earthly sovereign's power of virtue, suddenly became incomparably sacred. Without hesitation, he took another step forward and continued to walk forward. Not long after, the second set of runes was activated. This time they had entered an illusion. A blood-red small world. As soon as they entered, a gloomy blood rain fell in this small world. Knight Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye to observe for a while, but did not discover anything. Hence, he continued to walk forward in the blood rain. Not long after he walked, corpses made of blood continuously crawled out from the blood-red soil in front of him. These corpses made of blood were not the same as the blood corpses he had encountered earlier. In terms of aura, they were obviously stronger. In about 10 breaths' time, 33 blood corpses that looked exactly the same crawled out from the ground. As soon as they appeared, they roared and charged at Yi Sorrow. These corpses made of blood not only had stronger aura than the blood corpses outside, but their speed was also obviously much faster. However, at this moment, Knight Sorrow was still activating the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction super ability. Seeing that these corpses were extremely fast, he immediately used the golden heavenly halberd to display the extreme flame phantom. Using the speed, he quickly passed through the corpses. He consecutively pierced through more than 10 corpses. However, after these corpses were pierced through, they quickly gathered together and did not suffer any injuries at all. Not injured? Looks like I have to use the power of virtue again. Seeing the situation in front of him, Knight Sorrow immediately activated the Dragon of Virtue. Once again, he let it wrap around the golden heavenly halberd and attacked the corpses in front of him again. However, this time, even if he used the power of virtue, his attack still could not harm these corpses made of blood. Knight Sorrow immediately frowned and said, "Who knows what's going on? I feel that this is an illusion, so the things that appear should not be real. Since they are not real, they will not be injured." Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Qing Yun immediately deduced. www. Chapter 3306. Yes, I think so too. The existence of this illusion array is very likely to make Master consume endless divine power. The three-eyed silver wolf said and continued to deduce. As for what will happen after that, I'm not sure. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow thought and said, since we can't deduce what will happen after that, let's test it out. Then, he continued to fight with the corpses made of blood in front of him. After fighting for about 100 breaths, he directly withdrew about 50% of the divine power around him, giving people the feeling that his divine power was running out. Realizing that the corpses in front of him did not change at all, he withdrew another 30% of his divine power. He only used 20% of his divine power and only used speed to deal with these things. Then, he withdrew his divine power to only 1%. At this moment, Knight Sorrow realized that although these corpses made of blood looked very powerful, they gradually began to fade. After he completely hid his divine power, these corpses completely disappeared. What replaced them were 3 blood corpses that crawled out of the blood. These 3 blood corpses looked very ferocious. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to check and found that these were real. He immediately understood that the things that this array had just summoned were only to consume his divine power. And these 3 blood corpses in front of him should be used to kill. Roar! After the 3 blood corpses appeared, they immediately roared into the sky. Then, they attacked Night Sorrow at the same time. What powerful strength! They are 5 to 6 times stronger than the 10 blood corpses that were killed. After the 3 blood corpses attacked, Night Sorrow immediately released his divine power again. Moreover, he raised his divine power to the strongest state and activated the Green Phoenix battle armor. While fighting, he covered his body with flames. After these flames appeared, they directly dispersed the blood on his body. Seeing that Night Sorrow's aura had recovered, the 3 blood corpses that appeared immediately launched an even more ferocious attack than before. However, although the 3 blood corpses were very strong, they were only at the level of Upper Heavenly Supreme and not half-step to the Supreme Realm. With Night Sorrow going all out, he quickly destroyed the 3 blood corpses. This time, he had killed the 3 blood corpses. Although he had received a bonus from the power of merit, his power of merit was still that of a lower earthly sovereign. Obviously, after his power of merit had advanced to the earthly sovereign level, the speed at which he killed heavenly sovereign level evil spirits had significantly decreased. Bas! After the 3 blood corpses were killed, the illusory formation in front of him disappeared completely. Night Sorrow immediately came out of the small world. Once again, he appeared in the tunnel. After standing firm, Night Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice. 3-eyed silver wolf, you've done a meritorious deed again. If it weren't for your accurate deduction, I don't know how long I would have to fight those illusory blood corpses. You don't have to be so polite, Master. I was just guessing and happened to stumble upon the truth. Hearing the praise, the 3-eyed silver wolf immediately smiled and said, being able to deduce the truth by chance is also a kind of luck. At this point, I can't praise you verbally anymore. This is the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold, a supreme grade material. Keep it well. As he spoke, Night Sorrow took out 2 fist-sized pieces of Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold and handed them to the 3-eyed silver wolf. Ayo! A supreme grade material. It's really a supreme grade material. After receiving the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold, the 3-eyed silver wolf immediately shouted excitedly. At this time, Night Sorrow continued. Although the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold is a supreme grade material, it hasn't been purified, so it can only be refined into a half-step to supreme grade divine artifact. You can try to refine it. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Hearing this, the 3-eyed silver wolf immediately refined the Supreme Flaming Phoenix Gold in the Eternal Divine Tower. Soon, it refined them into a pair of wolf claws. Although this pair of wolf claws looked a little small, they could be changed in size at will. After the 3-eyed silver wolf put them on, it scratched its own defensive armor and immediately tore it apart. Amazing! A half-step to supreme grade divine artifact is indeed extraordinary. It hasn't even gone through the thunder calamity, and it already has such power. Thank you, Master. After the 3-eyed silver wolf confirmed the power of this divine artifact, it immediately cried out with gratitude. You deserve this. You don't have to be emotional here. The 3-eyed silver wolf was too emotional, so Night Sorrow said unhappily and continued to walk into the passage. Not long after, he entered another small world. This small world was similar to the small world that was raining blood. The only difference was that the blood corpses that appeared were all real. Yishan only managed to kill a few dozen blood corpses after roughly an hour of fighting. After killing so many blood corpses, his power of merit suddenly advanced to the level of a middle earthly sovereign. The power of merit, I've held it in for too long. It suddenly advanced, and it continuously improved by so much. Good, very good. His power of merit had advanced again, and he had broken through another level. Night Sorrow was in a good mood. At this time, there were only a few runes left in front of him. He used the sea serpent's eye to observe for a while. After confirming that he still couldn't see anything, he prepared to continue stepping in. At this time, Qing Yun suddenly said, Wait. I feel that there must be something wrong with this last level. Don't step in rashly. Oh? What do you mean? Night Sorrow stopped and asked doubtfully. Qing Yun continued, According to my understanding of the Blood Evil organization, they are very vicious. Generally speaking, the difficulty of the last level would be much higher than all the previous levels combined. I've already thought of this. Knight's Sorrow responded and continued. However, the level is right in front of us. If we don't activate it, what else can we do? Master, I just got a half step to Supreme Level Divine Artifact. Why don't you let me go in and help you explore? At this time, the three-eyed silver wolf volunteered. Hearing this, Knight's Sorrow was a little touched. However, he immediately said seriously, "No need. I'll do it myself. There's no need for you to take this risk. I still have some tricks up my sleeve." After saying that, he activated all the information on his body. He took a few steps forward and completely activated the last runes. Who would have thought? After entering, he was suddenly teleported out of the palace. He appeared outside the palace. The last runes are actually teleportation runes? When he appeared outside the palace and saw the familiar scenery, Knight's Sorrow was immediately surprised. He used the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings. This is indeed outside the palace. Qing Yun observed for a while and said immediately. At this time the three-eyed silver wolf said slowly, "No. Although this looks exactly the same as the palace, the smell is different. I can smell the difference." Chapter 3307. Oh. If you've discovered anything different, just say it. Hearing the three-eyed silver wolf's words, Knight's Sorrow immediately asked. Reporting to Master. You should still remember when I brought you guys to find the entrance, right? At that time, I relied on the difference in smell to find the entrance. The three-eyed silver wolf explained and then explained. And here in front of us, there's no smell at all. Therefore, even if it looks exactly the same, it's definitely not the same region. What you mean is that we weren't teleported out. Instead, we entered a new world? Knight's Sorrow said with a frown. The environment here, even with the sea serpent's eye, he couldn't see any illusory existence. The feeling that it gave people should be real. Yes. According to my judgment, this blood evil organization's altar should be hidden in a brand new world. It's not in the same space as the palace. Therefore, it's very difficult for the people from Blood Evil Organization to enter. The three-eyed silver wolf said his judgment. He felt that the Blood Evil altar should be in an independent plane. As for how to enter, he couldn't guess at all. Hearing him say this, Qing Yun immediately agreed. That's right. It's really possible. If it's really like this, it'll be even more difficult for us to find the altar. If your deduction is not wrong, then in the palace in front of us, it's very likely that we'll find a new secret chamber entrance. Or rather, an entrance to a new plane. Knight's Sorrow said and then ordered. Let's go find a new entrance. Three-eyed silver wolf, this matter still depends on you. All right. Master, let me out. The three-eyed silver wolf immediately said. He was still very obedient towards Knight's Sorrow's words. Come out. Knight's Sorrow said and released the three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun. The others were still recovering in the Eternal Divine Tower. After leaving the Eternal Divine Tower, the three-eyed silver wolf sniffed carefully and said, Although the smell here isn't heavy, I can still smell the smell of Blood Evil Organization cultivators. Master, please follow me. Your nose is really powerful. Compared to secret treasures, it's not inferior. Hearing this, Knight's Sorrow praised again. He didn't expect that purifying the three-eyed silver wolf on a whim would have such a great effect now. He could not detect any of the scents around him. Qing Yun, who was at the side, also didn't sense anything strange. She also felt that the nose of the three-eyed silver wolf was very rare. He praised, This talent of yours is useless in battle. But when it comes to finding something, it's really amazing. Of course, in the Blood Evil Organization, I was assigned to patrol the palace. That was definitely a waste of talent. The three-eyed silver wolf said proudly. Then, it led Knight's Sorrow and Qing Yun to search for the entrance. After searching for several locations, he finally found the place. Once again, they entered the passageway set up by the Blood Evil Organization. As soon as he entered, Knight's Sorrow discovered another array pattern that was similar to the previous one. He recalled the situation of the previous passageway and compared it.
The passageway in front of us is almost the same as the one we just passed through. It's almost the same. Should we try to break the formation again? When Qing Yun heard Night Sorrow's words, she looked at the array runes and said, Since there's no way out, let's press forward. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he walked towards the array pattern in front of him again. This time, he did not keep the two of them into the Eternal Divine Tower. When Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf saw Night Sorrow walking forward, they immediately followed. After the three of them stepped onto the array pattern, 10 blood corpses immediately appeared in the passageway. These 10 blood corpses were similar to the ones that appeared in the previous passageway. However, their auras were even stronger. It's really similar to the previous passageway. Exterminate them, Night Sorrow said and led Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf to fight the blood corpses in front of them. This time it was the same as the previous one. Ordinary attacks had no effect on the blood corpses at all. In the end, he used the Dragon of Virtue to kill these 10 blood corpses. After that, Night Sorrow brought the two of them and continued to break through. What they encountered was almost the same as the previous passageway. However, some of the blood corpses they encountered were much stronger. After passing the 4th checkpoint, the three-eyed silver wolf frowned and said, "This array pattern in front of us won't teleport us out again, right?" "Probably so. Looking at the array pattern in front of me, it looks similar to the previous one," Night Sorrow judged. "In order to prevent us from being separated, you guys had better enter the Eternal Divine Tower." As he spoke, he kept Qing Yun and the three-eyed silver wolf into the Eternal Divine Tower. After that, he stepped into the 5th checkpoint's array pattern again. Just as they had guessed, when he appeared again, he appeared in the periphery of the Imperial Palace again. After standing firm, Night Sorrow let the two of them out. He looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and said, "Sure enough, it's the same as our judgment. Smell it again and see if it's the same as the previous area." "Yes, Master." The three-eyed silver wolf responded and once again displayed its bloodline power, smelling the surrounding smell. After a while it said, "Master, this place is different from the previous 2 times. Then let's find the entrance again." Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that it might be similar to the previous time. They had fallen into a new plane again. He continued to let the three-eyed silver wolf find the entrance. "Yes, Master. It's just that this time the smell is much lighter. It might take some time to find the entrance," the three-eyed silver wolf judged. "Try to be faster. But if we can't do it, there's nothing we can do." Night Sorrow looked at the Imperial Palace in the distance and said slowly. Without a doubt, they had entered a cycle. What exactly did they need to do to find the location of the altar? He was not very sure. But from the looks of it, they could only take one step at a time. "I'll try to find the entrance as soon as possible. Master, you guys follow me." After the three-eyed silver wolf finished speaking, it brought Night Sorrow and Qing Yun to find a new entrance again. This time, they spent about 2 hours before they found the right place. After entering, they encountered the same thing as the previous few passages. After a bitter battle, they exterminated all the blood corpses and arrived in front of the 5th checkpoint's array pattern. At this time, Night Sorrow frowned and said, "Something doesn't seem right. This time, after killing so many blood corpses, the power of virtue in my body did not increase at all. This proves that the blood corpses that we killed just now seem to be illusory. We are most likely in an illusion." "In an illusion? If we activate the 5th checkpoint's array pattern, then we will enter a series of illusions?" Hearing this, Qing Yun immediately said doubtfully. Chapter 3308. I guess that might be the case. Night Sorrow nodded as he observed the runes. The three-eyed silver wolf looked at the runes as well. These bastards from Blood Fiends are really powerful. They want us to be trapped in a loop forever. If it were any other day, it wouldn't matter if we were trapped for a period of time. We can slowly break the array and find a way out. But Blood Fiends is fighting with our family and friends. We can't waste time like this. We have to think of a way to break the array. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and said, "Restriction Breaking Hammer, Eternal Divine Tower, help me think of a way too." Then, he summoned the Restriction Breaking Hammer and Eternal Divine Tower. Actually,
We've already studied the illusion array in front of us in the grotto heaven. Although this place looks extremely real and can't be broken, it's definitely fake. What we need to do is to destroy this fake world. As for how we're going to do it, we're not sure. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said immediately after it was summoned. The female hammer, who had not spoken for a long time, continued after the male hammer finished speaking. I guess that one way to break the illusion in front of us is to reach a certain level of strength. At least half-step to Supreme Realm and can see the true essence of the array. Secondly, one's strength has to reach a certain level. One can be unreasonable and directly break the array in front of us. One can defeat 10 with one's strength. Think about it. Even if everyone's array formation is exquisite, can it trap a limiter? Makes sense. The restriction-breaking hammer and the rest have a point. Xiaowu agreed after hearing what the restriction-breaking hammer said. However, he controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to observe and couldn't see through the array in front of them. He asked in confusion, the Eternal Divine Tower we're controlling is a half-step to Supreme Realm Divine Weapon. Why can't we see through the illusion in front of us? It should require a half-step to Supreme Realm Cultivator to see through it. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said after Xiaowu finished speaking. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, since we can't understand what's going on with this array, then we'll use the old method to break the array. He felt that the restriction-breaking hammer's analysis was very reasonable. Under the circumstances where they didn't know what was going on with the array, this was the only way. This was a solution that wasn't a solution. The old method. Breaking the formation by force? Little 5 didn't quite understand what Yishang was talking about. Little 7 reacted and asked. Yes. It's the same as what we did in the past. Night Sorrow explained, the Eternal Divine Tower will directly attack the runes of the 5th stage with its strongest attack. According to his judgment, the most problematic part was the 5th stage's formation pattern. After all, it was these runes that looked similar to each other that brought them into different environments. Alright. However, are you sure that we should directly use our strongest attack? Isn't it a little exhausting to use your strongest attack on an array pattern? Little 5 felt that directly using his strongest attack would consume a lot of energy, so he was a little reluctant. Seeing Little 5's reluctance, Night Sorrow said, time is everything. This attack might not be appropriate, but we have to attack. I can't let my family and friends wait for too long. Do you understand what I mean? Alright. I'll do it now. I'll definitely use my strongest attack without holding back. Hearing this, Little 5 immediately understood Night Sorrow's meaning, and immediately gathered the power of the Eternal Divine Tower. Using his strongest attack, he blasted the runes in front of him. Bas! This attack from the Eternal Divine Tower was definitely even more ferocious than Night Sorrow's strongest attack. It blasted the runes in front of them and immediately made a loud noise. It directly blasted the invisible film in front of them. The moment the invisible film shattered, everything in front of them was like broken glass, instantly shattering and then quickly disappearing. However, what appeared again was still a similar scene. It seemed that no one had moved. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at the three-eyed silver wolf and said, Three-eyed silver wolf, sniff and see what's the situation here. Yes, master. The three-eyed silver wolf responded and used his talent to transform into a wolf, using his sense of smell to explore the space in front of him. After exploring for a while, the three-eyed silver wolf transformed back into a human. This is the place where we just entered. The floor just now. Do you understand? Understood. In other words, we've returned to the space just now. Night Sorrow replied, then looked at the Eternal Sacred Tower and said, Little 5, continue to attack the runes in front of us. Maintain the same intensity as before? The Eternal Divine Tower can only use that level of attack a few times. Every time we use it against a strong enemy, we will have one less chance to counterattack. Little 5 said after hearing the order. Let's use it once first, then study the others. Night Sorrow nodded. Thinking of the threat that old demon blood fiend would bring to the island, how could he care about treasuring resources? Okay. Little 5 responded and struck out again. This time, the attack was almost exactly the same as before. The scene in front of them was once again like the ice surface, completely shattering. When the scene in front of them appeared again, Little 5 asked directly, Do you still want to use the same attack? One more time. Night Sorrow did not hesitate and said firmly. Then, Little Five attacked again, shattering the small world in front of them again. This time, under the confirmation of the three-eyed silver wolf, they were sure that they had appeared in the passageway that they had entered the first time. At this moment, Night Sorrow thought for a moment and continued, Little Five, continue. Again. Little Five roared loudly, and then controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to launch another attack. Just as Little Five attacked, Night Sorrow, who had gone all out, also shot the godly shot. The two attacks, almost at the same time, bombarded the runes in front of them. It caused a huge commotion on the spot. At the same time, an invisible door in front of them was forcibly blasted open. Everyone looked over and found that a new path had appeared in the passageway. This time, without the three-eyed silver wolf saying anything, Night Sorrow and the rest had already smelled the thick smell of blood. Smelling this smell, Qing Yun immediately frowned and said, This is the smell of the blood pool. We have entered the space where the blood pool is. The blood pool is there. The altar is there. Found it. We finally found it. Yes. This is the smell of the blood pool. Let's rush in and destroy the altar. The strength of everyone in the Blood Fiend organization will be reduced by at least 50%. The three-eyed silver wolf who sniffed carefully said with certainty. Finally walking out of the illusion and finding the altar, he was very excited. At this moment, an extremely cold voice came from the depths of the passageway. This is the first time I've seen someone so happy to die. Second leader. This voice comes from the most mysterious second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. Hearing this voice, Qing Yun immediately judged. Chapter 3309. Second leader? In that case, we found the right place. It's good that we found the right one. Hearing Qing Yun's words, Night Sorrow immediately rejoiced. No matter what, they had already found the main character now and could fight with real swords and spears. Unlike earlier, they could only circle around in the illusion array. Master, be careful. This second leader is very mysterious. He has used many names to show people. But as for who he is exactly, only Old Fiend Blood Fiend knows. Now that he has already advanced to half-step extreme realm, his strength is rather formidable. Especially near the blood pool and altar, his combat strength will at least increase by 50%. The three-eyed silver wolf saw Night Sorrow's performance and immediately opened its mouth to remind. Afraid that he would underestimate the extremely troublesome second leader because of his carelessness. In their hearts, this second leader was even more terrifying than Old Fiend Blood Fiend. Basically, those heinous matters of the Blood Fiend organization were all presided over by him. Relax. This matter concerns human lives. I won't have any carelessness. At the same time that Night Sorrow responded, he opened the sea serpent's eye and looked into the depths of the passageway. This time, he did not see any formation patterns. He ordered, Everyone charge in with me and destroy the Blood Fiend altar. Break one of their legs. At this time, Qing Yun transmitted, Wait. The Blood Fiend organization's people, fighting at the location of the blood pool, their strength is virtually inexhaustible. If possible, can we lure them out to fight? These people left behind by the Blood Fiend organization are guarding the altar. Even when we were breaking the formation, they did not leave the blood pool half a step. It's impossible to lure them out now. Let's charge in. Night Sorrow, who did not wish to delay for a moment, roared and took the lead to charge into the passageway. Let's follow too. The three-eyed silver wolf and Qing Yun exchanged a glance and followed closely behind. Several dozen breaths later, they appeared in the space where the altar and blood pool were located. This space occupied a very vast area and did not look like an underground world at all. The blood pool that they spoke of was actually a blood sea with a radius of 1,000 miles. In the center of the blood sea, there was a tall altar that reached straight to the sky. Currently, a stooped figure stood on the altar. Taking a look, the three-eyed silver wolf reminded, the one standing on the altar is the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. Normally, most of the Blood Fiend organization's matters are managed by him. I can feel his strength. After replying, Yi Shang looked at the vast sea of blood. He said angrily, How many people's blood is needed to gather the blood pool? The Blood Fiend organization. Blood Fiend organization. After we destroy the Blood Fiend altar, we must annihilate everyone in this organization. Yes. This kind of heinous beast doesn't have the right to live in this world. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, the three-eyed silver wolf agreed. At this moment, the people who were recovering in the Eternal Divine Tower all asked to fight. Now that they had regained their consciousness, they knew clearly what kind of torture their family and friends had suffered. Get ready to become a part of the Blood Sea. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization stood on the altar, raised his arms and roared. He controlled the Blood Sea and made it surge. After the Blood Sea surged, about 30 cultivators with their eyes closed gradually rose from the bottom of the sea. After these cultivators rose into the air, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization said coldly, "Kill all the invaders." Yes. After he gave the order, these cultivators covered in blood opened their eyes one by one and locked their gazes on Knight Sorrow's group. Every cultivator's eyes were filled with blood-red killing intent. They stared at Knight Sorrow's group as if they were looking at dead people. Their aura was very scary. They seemed to be much stronger than before. Seeing these blood-red cultivators, Qing Yun couldn't help but say. The 30 cultivators in front of them gave off a very strong feeling. At this moment, the three-eyed silver wolf reminded, "Master, summon all of our men." Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Everyone, let's attack together and test the enemy's strength. I'll make further arrangements. After thinking for a moment, Knight Sorrow followed the three-eyed silver wolf suggestion and summoned all the cultivators in the Eternal Divine Tower. By the time everyone had been summoned, there were already about 60 cultivators on Knight Sorrow's side. It was basically twice the number of the opponent, but he didn't have the slightest mentality of having an advantage. That was because the 60 cultivators in front of him were all purified by him with the power of merit. Although their cultivation didn't drop because they gave up the Blood Fiend power, their strength had decreased. Even if it was 2 against 1, they might not be a match for the 30 blood-red cultivators in front of him. However, Knight Sorrow was already very satisfied with such a situation. After all, when he first arrived at the periphery of the palace, he was facing more than 100 cultivators alone. At that time, there was no hope at all. If they could destroy the altar of the Blood Fiend organization, it would be equivalent to Knight Sorrow defeating half of the Blood Fiend organization with his own strength. So these people have all been purified by you. Do you have the power of merit? After Knight Sorrow summoned many cultivators, the second leader immediately locked his gaze on Knight Sorrow and asked maliciously, "It's useless to say more. Kill." At this moment, Knight Sorrow didn't waste any more words and directly ordered. He was in no mood to listen to the second leader's nonsense. "Kill. With the strength of these small fries that you purified? What a joke." After the second leader sneered, he suddenly shuddered a few times. Then, his doppelganger suddenly appeared on the altar. After this doppelganger appeared, it immediately charged towards Knight Sorrow and said coldly, "People like you are the enemy of the Blood Fiend organization. You must die today. You want to kill me? I'm afraid it's not enough with just your doppelganger." Knight Sorrow used the eye of the sea serpent to observe, and found that the doppelganger of the second leader only had the strength of an upper heavenly supreme. It hadn't reached the level of a half-step to supreme realm. He said disdainfully and used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the godly spear. Then, he shot out the roaring flame demon spear at the 30 cultivators who were charging towards him. At the same time, seeing that Knight Sorrow had made his move, the cultivators who were summoned all started fighting with the 30 blood-red cultivators. "It seems that I have underestimated you. It seems that you, a lower heavenly supreme, are not easy to deal with." Facing Knight Sorrow's godly spear, the doppelganger summoned by the second leader wanted to take it head-on. However, it was blown apart by the spear. He immediately sneered. Chapter 33:10. The laughter of the second-in-command of the Blood Evil organization was filled with mockery and arrogance. Although the first clone had been killed in an instant, he did not take Knight Sorrow seriously at all. Hearing his laughter, Yi Shang coldly replied, "Why don't you come over and fight me yourself? If you don't dare to come down, I'll go up." "Hee. You want to come up? You'll have to defeat my puppet clone first. Otherwise, you don't have that right." Hearing this, the second-in-command, who was standing on the altar,
let out a sinister laugh. Then, he summoned a puppet clone. This time, the clone he summoned had the aura of a half-step to the Supreme Realm. The skin on its face had been torn off by some unknown method, revealing the blackened flesh inside. It was wearing a gray robe that was stained with blood. Dripping blood flowed down, making the scene look extremely sinister. After sizing it up, Yishang was certain that this blood corpse avatar had been refined into a doppelganger by the second commander after killing a half-step Supreme Realm expert. The cruel thing was that the half-step to the Supreme Realm expert's face had been torn off. You've really barged into hell. I'm going to help my master tear you to pieces. I'm going to make a new puppet clone. While Night Sorrow was sizing up the bloody corpse, it let out a hoarse roar and flew up. It twisted its body and clawed viciously at Night Sorrow. A few of its fingernails instantly lengthened and scratched several dark red bloody marks in the void. Is being refined into a clone and helping the evildoer something that you want to do in your cultivation? In the face of the puppet clone's attack, Night Sorrow immediately used the defiant 9 steps to dodge and asked coldly. Next, I'll help you completely free yourself. Without waiting for the puppet clone to react, he used the golden heavenly halberd and used the mysterious azure divine spear technique. Then he started fighting. This puppet clone was good at using its sharp claws for close combat, which was exactly what Night Sorrow wanted. Because close combat was not only fun to fight, but it was also faster to determine victory and defeat. Strong it was strong. Weak it was weak. Soon, the winner would be decided. Master, don't worry and fight. We will help you fend off these blood-red cultivators. Seeing Night Sorrow fighting with the puppet doppelganger summoned by the second leader of Blood Fiends, Yi Zichen was shocked. The three-eyed silver wolf that was fighting with Qing Yun against the Crimson Cultivator immediately roared. Thank you. During the battle, Night Sorrow glanced at the cultivators who were fighting. When he realized that they were evenly matched with the other party, which was obviously better than he had expected, he was no longer as worried as before. However, he still transmitted his voice to Little Five. Little Five, I can deal with this puppet clone. Take control of the Eternal Divine Tower and think of a way to kill a few of the Scarlet Cultivators. That way, everyone can relax a lot. He was clear that the battle had just begun, and the three-eyed silver wolf and the others would definitely be able to hold on. However, they had yet to fully recover, so they would definitely be lacking in strength. Good. I'll find an opportunity to kill a few of them at once. After receiving the message, Little Five immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and left Night Sorrow's side, flying towards the location where the three-eyed silver wolf and the others were fighting. Find an opportunity to attack. After arranging this matter, Night Sorrow no longer paid attention to Qing Yun and the others. He began to fight with the puppet clone in front of him in peace. This puppet clone no longer had any divine essence energy in its body. However, relying on the power of the blood pool, when it fought, its divine essence energy was even more abundant than Night Sorrow's. After fighting for a while, not only did its strength and speed not decrease, it became even stronger. Night Sorrow, who was originally evenly matched with it, gradually began to fall into a disadvantage. You think you have the ability to contend with a half-step extreme realm? What's the result now? How can an ant like you provoke a half-step extreme realm expert? Now go and die! Seeing Night Sorrow being suppressed by the puppet clone, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization mocked sinisterly. Furthermore, right at this moment, he suddenly flew down from the altar. Aiming at Night Sorrow's location, he directly blasted out a blood-colored scepter. This blood-colored scepter was clearly something from the altar. At the same time it flew out, it immediately received the support of the blood pool's energy. It bloomed with a shocking blood light. Boom! Night Sorrow, who was fighting with the puppet clone, executed the heaven-defying 9 steps in a situation where he was suppressed, wanting to dodge this attack. However, he did not succeed and was hit by the blood-colored scepter on his shoulder. The area above Night Sorrow's left shoulder was immediately smashed into a bloody mess, and even his bones were exposed. You came down? Just in time. Just in time to finish off the two of you together. Eternal Divine Tower. Fight with me. After being hit by the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization's scepter, Night Sorrow suffered quite a bit of injury. However, he had the bloodline of the human wolf supremacy. Under its repair, he quickly recovered completely. At this moment,
Xiao Wu had just controlled the Eternal Divine Tower and killed 5 blood-colored cultivators in an instant.
Night Sorrow immediately summoned it over.
Alright, coming. After being summoned by Night Sorrow, Xiao Wu immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to fly to his side. At the same time, Night Sorrow activated the Green Phoenix armor. After that, he activated the Treastrimsa battle secret technique and the Destruction Divine ability again. Finally, he released the power of virtue that had advanced to the middle earthly sovereign level. He turned it into a dragon of virtue and wrapped it around the golden heavenly halberd. Now that the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization had flown down to fight, he also had the thought of risking his life. These things are not bad. They will belong to me in the future. Seeing that Night Sorrow had 3 half-step to the supreme-level divine artifacts, the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization raised his head and revealed a sinister smile. He summoned more than 10 blood-colored corpses from the ground. The strength of these blood-colored corpses was basically on par with the blood-colored cultivators summoned from the blood pool. Seeing this situation, the 3-eyed Silver Wolf and Qing Yun immediately started to worry about Night Sorrow. The 3-eyed Silver Wolf said, "Master, they should be able to deal with the remaining blood-colored cultivators. Qing Yun and I will help you." "No need. I should be able to fight." Facing the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization, his puppet clone, and more than 10 blood-colored corpses, Night Sorrow, who had completely unleashed his aura, roared and pierced the extreme flame phantom towards the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. At the same time he said, "Xiao Wu, attack those blood-colored corpses. There are too many of them. I can't deal with them. Leave it to us." However, the power in the Eternal Divine Tower is about to be exhausted. Xiao Wu responded and said helplessly, "No worries. After we defeat the 2 half-step to the supreme-level experts in front of us, I will let you guys absorb them." As Night Sorrow responded, the Golden Heavenly Halberd had already reached the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization. What surprised him was that the second leader of the Blood Fiend organization did not dodge this attack at all. The Golden Heavenly Halberd directly pierced through his body. "You are..." Night Sorrow suddenly discovered a secret. However, just as he opened his mouth, the puppet clone beside him attacked. It directly interrupted his sentence. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.